Sir, you're charged with especially aggravated kidnapping. You're also charged with aggravated assault, and you're charged with theft of a firearm worth less than $2,500.
You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
Hello and welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict, and boy, do I have a case for you today.
Why is the dog chewing on this guy?
I think they have got the wrong guy there.
They got the wrong guy, and the dog was biting him.
He roughing him up quite a bit. There's a lawsuit.
9 out of 10 judges prefer watching the Recovery Addict live stream in their court.
The fireworks are not done.
I'm getting commentary on the case. Dati hindi Anglican for his service. I didn't ask you to interrupt me.
Is that correct?
Good morning, good morning. Welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. Happy Friday Eve, or podcast day, as we like to call it around here. Happy podcast day. Welcome, welcome. Good to have you here. We have a banger of a court case. I'm using that. That's the British term, right? Oh, bangers and mash. Never mind. I'm not using that word appropriately, but I think we got a good one. We're gonna pick that up here in just a minute. But welcome. Happy Friday Eve. Sorry, don't let me just say Friday. I don't want anyone to think that I got my days wrong this morning, because that would never happen. Really. Oh, it's good to be here. Wonderful day. The sun is shining outside. Birds are singing. The bees are humming.
When are we going to break for lunch, Judge?
Lunch is coming. It's all good. I got audio worked up. I was able to do everything I needed. I think.
I'm not a cat.
I think I got everything in order. It feels like Look, you know what's right? Mupak is back. And not just Mupak, but thanks to Ryan Snapple, I now have a duck. A Sherlock Duckin. I don't know exactly what the name is, but it's
the zombie apocalypse may be upon us.
It's a detective duck. I don't know. It needs a name. Not sure exactly what it is, but I have a duck.
Are we going to address subject matter jurisdiction?
All I need now is the Jeep, so I'm halfway there. Oh my goodness. What are the birds and bees doing?
Don't miss the forest for the trees.
Birds and bee things. I don't know. Ask your parents. Let's see. We have things to celebrate. People to let's see. Tisha S. That was not the first person. Tisha, sorry. William Hosey. William, congratulations. You were first in chat this morning.
You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
Wow, Judge, ease up. It's early. You're William, you're talking about things that aren't real. You're talking when no one else was talking. You were the first person in chat to say anything. As punishment for breaking the silence, we're going to send it to you with internet ownership. I believe, William, this is your first offense. And as such, we will take no pity on you. Ignorance is not an excuse. We're going to send it to you with the full,
taking it easy,
maximum allowable punishment,
with more experience,
which is internet ownership until we go live again. So, William, the internet is all yours. Not to do with as you wish. You can't sell it off and make $1 billion. But you can be the person on call for anyone who has any internet issues worldwide. So we're just going to go ahead and send your number out to everybody, all the help desk. You're basically going to be all the level 2 support. A lot of the level 1 stuff is covered by other people, but when they can't fix it, they'll call you. William, congratulations. If you would like to commemorate this occasion, this offense, you can pay the low fine of just 50 cents over on the merchandise page and download your own certificate of internet ownership suitable for framing or including in your CV. I said including. But thank you, William. Congratulations.
How does he do that?
Luca, finally yellow. 6 months. Good day to everyone. Enjoy the stream and your day. Thank you, Luca. P. Lola's mom, congrats to your son. Love our family. Yes, he won. My son won the piano competition. Thank you. He is so excited. 6-volt bus. Quacklock Holmes. That's a good suggestion. Are you a quacklock? He doesn't make noise. I've been squeezing him. I think he floats though, which is as well. I think a prerequisite for ducks is to have them float.
I object.
He's maybe a little top heavy. Oh look, I know this is a little indecent, but he's got little shoes on back there. He's got little black shoes. It's quite the duck. Thank you, Ryan. Apple Snapple. Appreciate that. Quacklock Duck. Quacklock Holmes. Man, I can't. It doesn't slide off the tongue as quickly as I'd like it to. Sixfold. Congratulations, though, on 14 months. Man, I haven't been around that long. No, I guess I have. Technically, I would need to be. But no, I appreciate that, Sixfold. Created by EJF, Birds and Bees on a Friday Eve. Happy 6 months to me. Yes. That's as far as we'll talk about that topic. All right, we have... I'm excited. Today is such a good day. I don't know. I can't go into why. Maybe I can. It's the podcast. We have the podcast tonight. I'm so excited to do the podcast with Thomas. If you have not been to the podcast yet, if you're not, and I say that, if you've not been there live, today is the day to do it. Today's the day. What's going to happen? I can't tell you. Why? Because I don't know. And that's just how we roll on the podcast. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be great. And Thomas and I will be there just, being not relevant as we normally are. So I'm super excited. Do we really have no birthdays? Do we have no birthdays today? Can we get a list of the banned words? Okay. No. All you can do is try and fail. Let's see. Congrats to your son. Thank you. And you were still late. I was late, but I had a good reason. My camera had to be rebooted. Literally, it was still booting up. It still said GoPro on the screen as I was playing the Judges 9 out of 10 Judges soundbite. I was like right at the limit. I went live as soon as I possibly could. All right. Let's see. Ooh, here's one birthday. Mother-in-law, Jan. She's 85 today. We can sing to Jan. Did I miss Michelle's birthday yesterday? Did we sing to Michelle? Oh, it's Britt C's birthday. Oh, okay. Whoa. We've got a couple. So we have Jan, who's 85. Congratulations. Veda Worship. We're just gonna do Veda because two names are really hard for me to fit in the birthday song. Britt, Jan, Veda, Britt, and is it Hike? Correct me if it's not Hike. I'd like to get the pronunciation right on this one. Podcast is at 8 p.m. tonight, Eastern time. Just for reference, it is 9:10 right now. So basically in just 10 minutes shy of 11 hours. So 10 hours and 15 minutes. 10 hours and 50 minutes the podcast happens. I think that's right. Hannah, happy 18th birthday to your granddaughter, Nancy. We're going to sing to Hannah as well. Let's see. It was Michelle. I've got Michelle down. It says March 13th, but that was yesterday. Didn't we? Did we sing to Michelle yesterday? Easy. No, it's Michelle today. I'm pretty sure it's Michelle today. I wrote it down on the 13th, but yesterday we had Kitty Kitty Bang Bang and everybody. I did sing to Michelle yesterday. Man. Okay. All right. So I just didn't record the day. Okay. It's Haika.
Scratch all that. That was terrible. I apologize.
Is this Ka or K? Haika? I'm not good with pronunciations, and I'm not good with replay the tape. Yes, we sang to Michelle. Okay. Let's see. It's Heike. At the E at the end should be pronounced I guess. Haikai. Hi. Haika. It should be easier for me to do this. Sixfold, appreciate you doing the duck voice today. That's going to add a lot to the singing. I'm going to say Haika. That's the best I can do. Maybe like haiku? No, that's different. That's a different word altogether.
Somebody just sent me a video of roaches fighting. I don't know who won.
When are we going to break for lunch, Judge?
Haika. We're going to do Haika. All right. Here we go. We are ready. I think just final warning. We've got Jan, Veda, Britt, Haika, and Hannah. that we're singing to today. This is, when I say we, it's all of us. If you're sitting there thinking, oh, but he doesn't mean me. Yes, I actually do mean you. Everybody needs to sing on this one. You know what? If you have not, I know there are a couple of you out here, and I've not been pointing my finger at you or calling you out, but if you have not been singing thus far, you've been missing out on just how good it makes you feel for the rest of the day, having sung happy birthday to someone in the morning.
Are we going to adjust subject matter?
You won't know how good it is until you join in with everybody else. And trust me, everyone else is singing. It's just you. So join with us as we sing happy birthday to Jan, Veda, Britt, Heike, and Hannah. Let's warm up together. La 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 la. That'll work. Sherry has a birthday too. We'll add Sherry on the bottom. Perfect timing. Okay. Gonna be fast. Here we go.
Is that correct?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Jan, Veda, Britt, Heike, Hannah, and Cherry. Happy birthday to you. Yeah. See, now don't you feel better having sung? Don't you feel better? It is wonderful. It's wonderful. Let's see. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to everyone who is celebrating a birthday today. Gashette, it's like nailed it. Nailed it. Dancers, you're on. This is just the dancing verse. Here we go. Remember the high kick part. Oh, the unison is amazing. It's like you're 10,000 bodies in one mind. They're just all moving perfectly together. To everybody who's celebrating a birthday today, happy birthday. I realize there are a million places you could celebrate and a million people would probably want to celebrate with you today. I know I do. But you chose us to be here with you, or you chose to be here with us. Either way, oh, they look, that's a terrifying thought. I pulled my groin on the high kicks. Oh, man. Happy birthday. Hopefully we can make your day just a little bit better. Thank you very much for joining us. Are we building the thumbnail for the case? Yes, we are. We'll talk about that in just a minute. The Rockettes can't even get close. Yes, free pancakes at Denny's and all. Thank you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Have a good one. Oh, thank you. Thank you. All right. Let me say this. When we say, are we building a thumbnail for this? We are. But we have to work together. And apparently what I built already is gone. So I'm not sure how to fix that. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go and post one more time, and this is a creative work, and it may or may not work. But this is the Canva link, and I have granted each of you, each individually, access to the link. So you literally can build this, and we want to be additive but not destructive. Okay? Not too much, but we need. Did you save? No, I didn't save. Why did I save? I can build it again. I didn't think someone was going to write hello in the middle of everything. Let's delete that, because we don't. Let's see. What is here? Let me do this. We've got little mice going all over the. Let's see. Let's do a road. Let me show you what we had to start with. It's right here. Okay, just hold. Can I not trust you guys with anything? How it started, how it's going, and I realize this is great. Let me show you guys what I'm dealing with here. If you'll hold tight for just a minute. Let's go on the big screen. For those who are not able to jump on Canva and see what's happening here, I've given each of you, all of you, access, and it looks like we've got about 30 or so people in here right now who are changing everything. Now, let me. I know it's harsh, but this is how it started. Ready? It started like this, with the little road going across the screen, because what we have here is a case that involves a trooper, a high-speed chase, a shooting at the end of the high-speed chase. Oh, he's got a knife. That's a little scary. But anyway, basically we have a road. I figured if we could just agree on that, we're going to eventually, let's see. No, not that one. Let's see, where is it at? Just 1 second. Let me get rid of this video. I don't need that up there. It's a different trial that we're not watching. As a point of reference, and this is just as a point of reference, because I can't really use the Google image, but this is the location it actually happened on. Now we realize it's not as pretty as ours. It doesn't look as good, but basically the high-speed chase ends underneath on this road on Campbell Avenue, underneath I-95 in Connecticut, and that's what we're dealing with. But clearly, we can't have a top-down view, or else we wouldn't see anything that happened. So keep that in mind. Don't do too much, but see if you can work together on the thumbnail, and we'll see. It's an experiment. I'm not saying it's going to work that well. I mean, right now this is where we are. People have been deleting stuff, and we have a airport bridge, a duck crossing. Good things. I see a squirrel. There's a road sign. Maybe we should nominate like 2 or 3 people. Is that a snail down in the corner? Somebody's been drawing. There's a car. Police. Nice. So you really have to work together because perspective is important on this one. So find a road that you guys all can agree with. It might be a sideways road. It doesn't have to be my road even. But as we go along, hopefully we can end up with something that's representative. And not everything that's mentioned needs to be in here. Some of you are like, I cannot be trusted with this power. It's too much. All right. That being said, all right, we'll let that continue in the background. I'll keep an eye on that as it's moving along. We have a couple ground rules we want to go over. Because we are picking up this case, this did not get a lot of playtime. This did not get a lot of. It's not over yet either. The case is not over. It's still going on, but we anticipate that it will be over before we catch up with the ending. So we need to. Thank you, whoever put the road back. That's beautiful. Maybe we could lock a couple things. I don't know if you can do that in Canva, but we need to have a couple. I think a couple of you don't know how Canva works. Pretty sure. We might have to make a new link. All right. Anyway, a couple ground rules. No spoilers. No spoilers. I'm going to take out New Haven, Connecticut, and say no spoilers. If you do not know what a spoiler is, and you have seen what has happened in this case, don't talk. Honestly, don't talk, because the slightest thing that you mention, even if you think I'm not going to give it away, it's giving something away. Big data, we can figure out. We're all smart people. We can realize what's going on, and we ask that you not do that. Okay, don't talk about the case. Don't talk about what's coming up. Don't talk about. There's the pickle. Nice. All right, we might have decided on a perspective, but anyway, so. We ask you not to share anything. Don't say, oh, there's a good part, or wait till tomorrow, or we get to hear from this person. We're all going to view this as if all the information we have has just come from as we were watching it, because I have not seen it. I've not seen it either. So I've also made some, just as a warning, I've made some banned words. And these are some words that would only come up in a situation where someone is giving away a spoiler. And we're going to be extremely heavy-handed with anyone who tries a spoiler. Now, the spoiler, if you try to do it, there's some trolls out there, if they try to do it, it comes up as it held for review, and the mods will just do a 24-hour timeout. Okay? We need everyone to understand how serious it is. We need not have any spoilers. So not every word that comes up in here will necessarily cause you to have a timeout. Some of the mods will have to allow if they're used properly. But I'm adding the spoiler words now.
There's a lawsuit.
That one's spelled wrong. Helps if I spell it right. There we go. Okay. Okay. I'll screenshot those because I'll remove them for later. Okay, save. All right. Okay, I think we're good on that one.
Somebody just sent me a video of roaches fighting. I don't know who won.
Okay. We're going to take a quick informal poll. That means there won't be a way to vote on the screen. Fast forward through judges' instructions or listen to them slowly. We have spoiler words. Spoiler words are already put into the banned chat list. Think of all the, George Carlin's 7 dirty words. Every variant of those words you can possibly imagine. And any word that might be found in a spoiler, they're on the banned list, and they might get you in the naughty corner. It doesn't mean we don't love you. Okay, don't think that it's not. We just need to prevent the case from being ruined for a lot of people, because a lot of people really want to see it as it happens. All right, so do we listen to all the judges' instructions? Because it's going to have fast forward. Okay. Let's do just a couple things then. First, let's bring this up and play. Did a lot of work on the audio today, by the way, to get that working the way it is. This is our courtroom. Unfortunately, we just have one view. It's beautiful. It is what it is. I'm sorry. We have a big TV in front of us. There's one camera, and we have a TV that blocks a little bit of our view. But I think we can sort of see around it. Most of what happens in court happens on one side or the other. So we're gonna be all right. So we're gonna listen to the court clerk at the beginning. We'll take a brief break and fast forward through the judge's instructions, and then we'll be ready to go with openings. So treat this as if you're a juror member. There's no recap right now. There's no synopsis other than what you know already, is that we have a trooper in Connecticut charged with manslaughter in a case that began as a high-speed chase and ended with a shooting and the death of the victim, or the suspect in this case. So we've tweaked the audio, so we've got everything working perfectly, or at least as good as we can. The jury's coming in right now, I think, so give them just a minute. Very young officer. We're gonna hear. Can you hear the charges? Yes, I'm going to try to play the charges for you, especially the elements of the charge as well. But his charge is, let's see, Mubarak Soulmain was the victim. It's a manslaughter charge. Let's see, the actual charge is, and there are a bunch of lesser includeds. First-degree manslaughter with a firearm. He faces up to 40 years. He rejected a plea offer in the case, calling for a sentence of up to 10 years in prison with the right to argue for less time behind bars. He faces up to 40 years if convicted of first-degree manslaughter with a firearm. There are 2 lesser includeds. Second-degree manslaughter with a firearm, a Class C felony, that's up to 10 years, or criminally negligent homicide, a Class A misdemeanor with maximum penalty of a year behind bars. So let's give them just a second as the jury's finding their way in. Oh, I got lost. Sorry. I'm back. I'm right here. Did you miss me?
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the defendant has been charged in the following information. In the Superior Court of the State of Connecticut for the Judicial District of Ansonia Milford, Robert J. Devlin Jr., Deputy Chief State's Attorney, accuses Brian D. North of manslaughter in the first degree with a firearm, and charges that in the County of New Haven, in the City of West Haven, on or about the 15th day of January 2020 at approximately 5 p.m. at that portion of Campbell Avenue that passes under Interstate 95 in said city, the said Brian D. North, under circumstances, events, and an extreme indifference to human life, recklessly engaged in conduct which created a great risk of death to Mubarak Salamain and thereby caused the death of Mubarak Salamain by means of the use of a firearm, to wit, a Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0 9mm handgun, in violation of Section 53A, 55, paren A, paren 3, and Section 53A, 55A of the Connecticut General Statutes, dated at Cheshire, Connecticut, this 2nd day of June 2022, signed by Deputy Chief State's Attorney Robert J. Devlin, Jr. To this information, the defendant has pled not guilty. It will be your duty to decide, therefore, whether he is guilty or not guilty, and to say so by your foreperson and say no more. Kindly attend to the evidence.
Say he's guilty and then nothing else.
Good morning.
Erica, 6
My
months.
remarks
Thank
at this
you.
time will generally acquaint you with some of the legal principles that will control your deliberations and give you an idea of how the trial will proceed.
I have listened to these. Let me tell you.
How long it is expected to take,
As
and
I
what your
fast
daily
forward.
schedule will be. I'll give you detailed instructions of
What he tells them is basically the same. He asks questions. I don't think they can. I believe they can take notes. The law is very similar to what we've heard in other cases. Let's fast forward to right here.
events that are the subject of this trial took place, or use internet maps or Google Earth or any other program or device to search for or view any place discussed during the case. I give you these directions because the parties have a right to have the case decided only on evidence they know about and that has been introduced here in court. If you do some research or investigation or experiment that we don't know about, then your verdict could be influenced by information that has not been tested by the oath to tell the truth and by cross-examination. The same thing is true of any media reports that may come across about the case or anybody connected with the case. If you do come across any reports in the newspaper or on any internet site or blog, you may not read or watch them because they may refer to information not introduced here in court, and they may contain inaccurate information. If you're accidentally exposed to such information, do not discuss it with your fellow jurors and notify the clerk in writing. You may not discuss the case with anyone else, including anyone involved with this case, until the trial is over and you have been discharged as jurors. Anyone else includes members of your family, your friends, your co-workers. If you wish, you may tell them you're serving as a juror, but you may not tell them anything else about the case until it is over.
He's almost done.
Discharged you. You may not talk to any of the court personnel, such as marshals and clerks, about the case. You may not ask any friends who are lawyers or law enforcement personnel for advice or information about any matters related to the case. I give you these directions because they haven't heard the evidence that you've heard, and in discussing the case with them, you may be influenced in your verdict by their opinions, and that would not be fair to the parties, and it may result in a verdict that is not based on the evidence and the law. You may not communicate to anyone any information about the case. This includes communication with it by any means, such as text messages, email, internet chat rooms, blogs, and social websites like Facebook, MySpace, YouTube, Twitter, X. Both the defendant and the state are entitled to a fair trial, to an impartial jury, and you must conduct yourself so as to maintain the integrity of the judicial process. When you have rendered a verdict and been dismissed by the court, you will be free to discuss the case with anyone you wish, though remember that you are not required to. Until then, you must be focused solely on the evidence presented in the courtroom and your obligations to the fairness of the proceeding. In addition, you may not talk to each other about the case until I tell you to do so, and that will not be until you've heard all the evidence, you've heard the closing arguments of the lawyers, and you've heard my instructions on the law that you are about to apply to the facts you found to be true. It may seem natural that you would talk about the case as it's going on. The problem with that is when people start discussing things, they may take positions on them and express opinions which are often hard for them to change later on. So if you were permitted to discuss the case while it's going on, you might reach conclusions or express opinions before you've heard all the evidence or heard the final arguments of the lawyers or heard the law that you must apply. Your verdict in this case might then be improperly influenced by the conclusions or opinions you or your fellow jurors have reached before you knew about all the evidence or the law that will help you put that evidence in the proper context for your verdict.
We also need a counter
What happens
for
if
this
these
court.
rules are
So
violated
let me
by
know
a
what you want
juror?
to count.
Well, in some cases, violations of the rules of juror conduct have resulted in hearings after trial at which the jurors have had to testify about their conduct. In some cases, the verdict of the jury has been set aside and a new trial ordered because of juror misconduct. So it's very important that you abide by these rules. If someone attempts to talk to you, please report it to the clerk immediately. If you see or hear anything of a prejudicial nature or that you think might compromise the proper conduct of this trial, please report it to the clerk immediately. These communications should be in writing. Do not discuss any such matters with your fellow jurors. After you were selected as jurors or alternates in this case, I mentioned to each of you that this trial may generate press interest, and I gave you some brief instructions about what to expect in that regard and how to conduct yourselves while the trial is underway. I want to focus on that for a minute. As you've probably noticed, there are members of the press here in the courtroom, in the hallways, and on the grounds outside the courthouse. They're here with permission of the court because this trial, is a public matter, and the public has a right to know about what is happening here. On the other hand, the court is responsible for ensuring the comfort and privacy of persons who need to be here and for conducting these proceedings in an orderly and dignified way so that neither you nor the parties and their representatives, nor the witnesses, nor the court staff are distracted from their important business here. These interests must all be accommodated and harmonized. Accordingly, the court and members of the press have agreed on certain restrictions and limits on the activities in which the press may engage. First, members of the press may not approach jurors, alternates, witnesses, attorneys in the case, or court staff for questioning or interviews prior to the conclusion of the proceedings here in the courthouse, on its grounds, or elsewhere. Jurors and alternates shall not discuss any aspect of the case with anyone while it's pending. Members of the press shall not take or make photographs or video or audio recordings of jurors or alternates inside or outside the courthouse. But there are one still camera and one video camera in the courtroom, but neither will be used to capture images of any of the jurors. If jurors, alternates, or court staff become aware of violations of these rules, you must report these matters to the marshals so the court may address them immediately. Finally, jurors and alternates should carefully avoid viewing press coverage of these proceedings while the trial is pending. As I've told you repeatedly, it is critical that all that you know about this case is information that has been presented to you here in this courtroom by the parties. Before the trial begins, I want to give you a brief and basic overview of the elements of the crime charged in the information, which elements the state will bear the burden of proving beyond a reasonable doubt as to the prospective crime, or as to the crime alleged. At the end of the trial, I'll explain in great detail all the governing legal principles and all of the required elements, and where appropriate, any legal defenses. At the outset of the trial, I'm just giving you a basic outline of the required elements for the charge to help you as you listen to the evidence. The defendant is charged with manslaughter in the first degree with a firearm. The statutes defining this offense read in pertinent part as follows. A person is guilty of manslaughter in the first degree with a firearm when he commits manslaughter in the first degree, that is, under circumstances evincing an extreme indifference to human life, he recklessly engages in conduct which creates a grave risk of death to another person and thereby causes the death of another person, and in the commission of such offense,
he's almost done. We
uses
skipped
a
half an hour
firearm.
of instructions.
In summary, the state must prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant committed manslaughter in the first degree and that, under circumstances evincing an extreme indifference to human life, he recklessly engaged in conduct which created a grave risk of death to another person and thereby caused the death of another person, and that in the commission of the crime, he used a firearm. If you unanimously find that the state has proven beyond a reasonable doubt each of the elements of the crime of manslaughter in the first degree with a firearm, then you shall find the defendant guilty. On the other hand, if you unanimously find that the state has failed to prove beyond a reasonable doubt any of the elements, you shall then find the defendant not guilty. The foregoing summary of the charge alleged against the defendant is just that. It's a summary. As to all these matters, I will give you more detailed instructions after you have heard the evidence in the case and the arguments of the lawyers. Are the parties ready to proceed?
Ready.
Then, Mr. Devlin, will you please call the state's first witness?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Right, just witness, please.
like a maze to
Could
get
you
up
please
there.
just remain standing and face the clerk?
Will you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or solemnly sincerely affirm, as the case may be, that the evidence you shall give concerning this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or upon penalty of perjury? Will you please state your first and last name for the record?
My first name is Omo, O-M-O. My last name is Mohammed, M-O-H-A-M-M-E-D.
Thank you. May you please state your address for the record?
189.
We're not going to give away their addresses. So.
Please be seated and kind of pull up to the microphone so that we can all hear you.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Is it okay if I call you Omo?
Yes.
Omo.
Well, she's got a pin on.
What's your relationship with Mubarak Suleiman?
Glasses.
I'm his mother.
And do you have other children?
Yes.
Okay.
I have 4 other children.
All right. And do you have a daughter?
I have a daughter, Mariam Suleiman, and Sira Bande.
Okay. Do you recognize this picture, Omo?
That's my son, Mubarak Suleiman.
It's going to be marked as an objection.
No objection.
Substitute this one for one that. Okay, sure.
And what is it? It's already, is it previously marked?
One.
And is that, you offering it as a full exhibit at this? Full exhibit.
Every court has different rules, and some courts don't allow any pins or even logos on shirts. But she's clearly wearing a pin in memory of her son, who's the victim in this case.
So this looks like a high school graduation picture. Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's the day that he graduated from Notre Dame.
Okay. Notre Dame High School in what town?
In Fairfield.
Okay. Can I pass this among the jurors, please? Your Honor?
You may.
Missy Pants, congratulations on 14 months. Unable to see chat. My job requires me to keep my hands busy. Thank you for being here.
Do you remember
Thanks
the
for
year he
14
graduated?
Mubarak graduated in 2018.
Okay.
18, yeah.
And directing your attention to January 15, 2020, a couple of years later. How old was your son?
He was 19 years old.
All right. Before he graduated from Notre Dame High School in Fairfield, where did he go to school?
Mubarak started high school in Norwalk. Norwalk High School for 1 year, and then we moved to New Haven. So he went to Wilbercross for 1 year.
Okay.
Before he went to Fairfield for 2 years.
Okay. And he played sports in high school?
He played lacrosse and basketball.
Okay, good, good. At some point during his adolescent years, did Mubarak show some signs of mental illness?
That was his second year in high school at Wilbercross. It was 2016 during the summer.
Okay.
When that occurred, and they called me.
All right. And can you tell the jurors about that a little bit?
Mubarak was 15 years old at the time at Wilbercross High School in New Haven. He was in school when he had an episode. So the teachers called me and said, Mubarak is having a reaction. Apparently, I wasn't home. My brother was home. He picked Mubarak up before I got home. We never see Mubarak with that kind of episode. We never see him with that. We never see that. So we rushed to the Yale Hospital. Before, the first time they didn't diagnose what he had. They said it was a mental illness for the first time. But since then, Mubarak kept having an episode. He struggled with that until he graduated high school.
Did they give him medicine for that?
He has medicine.
Okay.
He's been on medication all the time till the last day he was dead.
Okay. So let me direct your attention to January 15, 2020. Where were you on that date, January 15, 2020?
I was in Africa. I was in Ghana.
Okay. And so you were not in the U.S. when your son was killed?
No, I'm not.
Okay. How did you learn about the shooting?
My son, Saeed Suleiman, called me when the state troopers came to his house and informed him that his brother was dead.
Okay.
He was shot and killed.
Okay. Thank you very much. No further questions.
Mr. Riccio.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Riccio.
How are you? May I call you Ms. Muhammad?
Yeah.
Thank you. So just a couple of questions, please.
Yeah.
Now, you testified that Mubarak was on medication or was prescribed medication
Yeah.
for his illnesses, correct?
Yes.
Is it fair to say that there were times when he was not taking his medication?
It's hard for Mubarak in the beginning because he's fighting the sickness. Even with that sickness, he was able to graduate with the sickness. So they had given us a nurse to help us. There are times that I couldn't help to give him the medication. The nurse will help. So there are times that it's hard for him to take his meds. Yes.
So it is fair to say that there were times, frequently, where he was not taking his medication as prescribed.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you were asked about January 15th. Within, say, 24 hours of the event that this trial brings us to, was he taking his medication?
I'm not in the country and I'm not with him, so I wouldn't know.
Okay. And were you aware of any problems that he had with his brother the day before this incident?
Yes, I was aware.
Okay, and you were aware of the fact that he and his brother had an incident where his brother, your son, had to call the police on him?
No, I know my son, Saeed, called the police that he couldn't find Mubarak.
Okay.
That's when he called the police that he cannot find his brother since yesterday. His brother is missing.
And that was as a result, well, withdrawn. During that same call, is it true that he spoke to police about an argument that he had with his brother?
I'm not aware of that.
Okay. All right, I have no other questions, ma'am. Thank you very much for coming.
All right.
Your son Saeed made a missing person complaint to the police department, correct, about
Yes.
Mubarak?
Yes.
No further questions.
Yeah.
Nothing further.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
This court layout is quite interesting.
Thank you.
First of all, no opening statements in Connecticut. I forgot about that. I realize the TV is blocking most of our view, but the counsel walks right up to in front of the jury and talks. The microphone's actually on the jury divider wall.
Mary Ann Suleiman?
Your thumbnail's coming along nicely. You guys are working together great.
Can you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or solemnly sincerely affirm, as the case may be, that the evidence you shall give concerning this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or upon penalty of perjury?
Yes.
May you please state your first and last name for the record?
Mary Ann Suleiman.
May you please spell your last name for the record?
Soulemane.
May you please state your address for the record?
We're not going to listen to addresses.
Please have a seat, Mr. Lemon, and pull up to the microphone
This is
so
a
that we can all
Connecticut
hear you
trooper
well.
who shot and
I've asked you
killed
to keep your voice up so the jurors
the
can hear what you have to
suspect
say.
in a
All right,
high-speed
great.
chase. After a high-speed
What's your
chase.
relationship with Mubarak Suleiman?
He was my brother.
Okay. When both you and him, did you have a connection with the city of Norwalk when you were growing up?
Yeah, a great connection. Mubarak went to elementary school there. I started off there in middle school.
Slide a little bit closer to the microphone, please,
Just to
Mary.
identify
Yeah.
the
Is this
victim.
better?
was
Yes.
the purpose.
Yeah, Mubarak went to elementary school there. I started off in middle school in Newark.
Okay. And did Mubarak have friends in Norwalk, people he knew?
Oh my God, plenty. He had plenty of friends. He was really well known in Norwalk, and he was always there.
Okay. Were you aware of the fact that your brother had some issues with, had a mental health condition?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was amongst the people that he called the summer of 2016. just in a state of confusion and unaware what was taking place or what was going on. I'm very paranoid, and we just had no idea what was going on until we did. Like, when we took him to the hospital and they were able to give us more insight into his psychosis.
Okay. And did he have a diagnosis?
Yeah, they diagnosed him with schizophrenia and bipolar.
Okay. And he received some medication for that?
Yes.
All right. But on a day-to-day basis, I know he had that medication, I know he had that diagnosis. Was he able to function?
With the medication?
Yeah.
They would, prescribe him a concoction of medication, and he would be stable for some time. And then, as we learned as a family, sometimes, they feel like they're okay on the medication. And so there's times where they just, are not taking it as consistently. And that would be the case with Mubarak. So we would be kind of in and out of the ER, unfortunately, when the manic episodes arose. And it was just a constant, readjustment of medication and best efforts to get him to take it consistently.
Right. But he was a varsity basketball player, right?
Right, yeah. They went to, they were very successful as a team. And he tried everything, basketball, lacrosse. He even did some football as well.
And he graduated high school?
Yes, he graduated high school.
So on January 15, 2020, where were you?
I was in Malaysia. I received a Fulbright, so I was in Malaysia on that fellowship teaching English.
So you were received a Fulbright scholarship from the college you graduated from?
Yeah, I received it from the United States government.
Okay, from the U.S. government.
Right.
And to do what? What were you doing in Malaysia?
I was an ETA, so English teaching assistant. So I was placed in a school in Malaysia to teach English.
Okay. When was the last time you spoke to your brother Mubarak?
I spoke to him that week before he passed, and I can tell, by just speaking to him, he was pretty erratic, he was definitely experiencing a mania, and I was someone who he often called when he was in that state, and I would just talk to him very thoughtfully, and I'm trying to kind of bring him down and calm him down.
Okay. And how did you learn of your brother's death?
I was very publicly at a location in Malaysia, and my brother called, and he was just very distraught and bawling, and he finally said, Mubarak died, and that was pretty intense.
This was your brother Saeed?
Yes.
Okay. All right. No further questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Riccio.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
May I call you Mr. Woolman?
Yes, you may.
Thank you.
Now, you had testified that, and I'm going to assume on multiple occasions, your brother had manic episodes.
Right.
If you were to put a number on it, how many times would you say he had these manic episodes?
I could provide a range, maybe 7 to 7.
Can you speak up, please, ma'am? I can't hear you.
7 to 15, a range. If I was to provide, I wouldn't be able to give you an exact number.
Thank you, as best you can. Thank you. Now, when these episodes occurred, did he go to the hospital each time?
Yeah, we would ensure that he was, taken to the hospital to be reviewed.
And what was the average stay at the hospital for treatment of these episodes?
It would fluctuate. It depended on their availability, how many beds they had open. It could be anywhere from 3 nights to a week.
And with respect to the facilities or hospitals that you or someone you knew brought Mubarak to, was it a hospital in the simple sense, or was it like a mental health facility?
Well, yeah, we would take him to, we would call the ambulance. They'll take him to the ER first, and then they'd wait to have a bed open in their mental health unit. So I would assume it's the mental health facility.
Okay. You also stated that as a result of these episodes, there was an adjustment of his meds over time. Is it fair to say that his meds were increasing and or changing after each manic episode?
Not so much increasing, I would say just changing, based on what he would share with his doctor, like the side effects he was experiencing on some of them. They would adjust it accordingly.
And is it fair to say that it was a struggle for Mubarak to take his medications on a consistent daily basis?
Yeah, as we've learned with the illness, it's pretty common. So, that was the case for him as well.
I see. Now, you testified as to your whereabouts when this incident occurred. And you had testified that Mubarak had spoken to you prior to this incident occurring, correct?
Right.
And he seemed troubled. Is that a fair observation?
Yeah, I mean, I just, with him having that diagnosis for like 4 years, I was just pretty aware of when, he was experiencing or about to experience an episode, and I felt that.
And when he had these episodes, you had testified that some of the symptoms that he showed was confusion. He didn't know what his surroundings were. He didn't understand where he was. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, just paranoia and confusion. Yeah.
Okay. And that happened regularly when he had his episode?
When he had his episode,
yes.
Yeah.
Now, when you spoke to him immediately before this incident, when I say that within days of this incident, your last conversation with him, were you concerned that as a result of that conversation, he was having a really serious episode?
I wouldn't say extremely concerned. I would just say I was nervous and just wanted to gauge if he was taking his medication, but it wasn't to the point where I thought he needed immediate attention. I just felt like he should be taking his medication more consistently if in the case that he wasn't.
Now, whether you're a distance away from him or not, when these episodes occurred, did you call someone, whether it be family or doctor, to inform them that Mubarak's having an episode? Please intervene.
I mean, I talked frequently with my brother, who was at home with him.
Okay. And do you recall if after you spoke to Mubarak, again, immediately before this incident, did you then call your brother to talk to him about what concerned you through that phone call?
I mean, we discussed just Mubarak, and I mean, he leads his own life as well as Mubarak, so sometimes it's hard to pin him down, but I did discuss with my older brother.
All right. And finally, in your conversations with your brother, and this is Saeed, not Mubarak, but regarding Saeed, had you spoken to Saeed immediately before this incident of January 15, 2020?
No, I had not.
Okay, so you weren't aware of the disagreement that Saeed had with Mubarak?
No, I wasn't until the tragedy.
Okay. All right, I have no other questions, ma'am. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
No questions, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, ma'am. You are excused.
No objections. These first two witnesses, obviously family members. It's already painting a difficult situation.
Yes.
Mental illness.
Our next witness is Julia Johnson. She's coming in from the other room.
Okay.
Is this one?
This looks like an older style courtroom. Those walls with the cinder block ridges.
So we're going to do the photos too, so it should be 2K. Okay, so that's how we do it.
The defendant is the second one over. He's sitting right between his two lawyers. He does look very young. He's a trooper. I don't know how many years he's been on the force. I imagine we'll find out here.
Right up this way, Miss, please.
Everybody has an ASMR microphone, as you can hear. Lots of paper.
Morning, man.
Good morning.
Mr. Clerk.
May you please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or solemnly sincerely affirm, as the case may be, that the evidence you should give concerning this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God or upon penalty of perjury?
I do.
May you please state your first and last name for the record?
Julia Johnson.
May you please spell your last name for the record?
Johnsson.
May you please state your address for the record?
Not going to do the addresses.
Okay, thank you.
Please have a seat and try to pull up to the microphone so that we can hear you well.
Just slide the seat forward, please, Ms. Johnson, a little more. Thank you. Thank you. So on January 15, 2020, okay, like 4 years ago, where were you living at that time?
I was living at 180 Edward Street in New Haven, Connecticut.
Okay. And how long had you been living there at Edward Street in New Haven?
I don't remember, a few years.
Okay. And were you working at that time?
Yes.
Okay. And now, like 2024, you said you live now in Decatur, Georgia?
Yes.
Okay. And what sort of work do you do now?
I'm a special education teacher.
Okay. What grade?
3rd grade.
Okay. But getting back to your time in New Haven, did you come to know a person by the name of Mubarak Suleiman?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And how did you meet him?
I met him through my job. He came into the vape store.
Okay. And approximately when was that, if you remember?
It was sometime in the spring of 2019.
Interesting career path from a vape store
to special education. Did you develop sort of a friendship with him?
Yes.
Okay. And did that friendship ultimately result in a dating relationship with Mr. Suleiman?
Yes.
Okay. And about when was that? The dating relationship started?
August of 2019.
Okay. And did that dating relationship continue until the following January when he met his death?
Yes.
Okay. And how would you describe your relationship with him during that time, from say August when you started dating until the time just before he died?
Loving. He was a very loving person.
Okay. In connection with your relationship, did he ever discuss him suffering from any kind of mental illness?
Yes, he did, but I never pried into it.
Okay. And did his behavior seem abnormal to you during these times?
No, not until a few days leading up to the shooting.
Okay. You would see each other on pretty much a daily basis?
Yes.
Okay. So, from your perspective, the few days before this incident in January 15, 2020, he didn't show to you any great abnormal signs of conduct?
No.
Okay. And let me direct your attention to Friday, January 10th, 2020. It's a few days before the incident. Was there a discussion with him about somebody stalking you?
Yes, his behavior became noticeably paranoid, and he thought people were stalking me.
Okay, all right. What was your reaction to that?
I initially thought he was trying to be overprotective, but I was slightly confused.
Okay. Let me move forward to Tuesday, January 14th. This is the day before the shooting incident. Were you with Mubarak at that time during the afternoon?
Yes.
Okay. And did you, were you aware of the fact that he had a disagreement with his older brother, Saeed?
Yes.
Okay. And what happened? Did he come to your work that afternoon?
Do we want to count ums?
Okay. And what happened then?
He came to my work and he sat and hung out for a little bit.
Okay. And did you have a chance to interact with him there?
Yes, I did interact with him.
Okay. And how did he seem to you then?
He seemed out of it. He seemed a little bit like he wasn't himself.
Okay. All right. Was there an incident where he kissed you in a way that was inappropriate?
Yes, there was a physical altercation. He bit my tongue, and when I moved away, it seemed like he didn't realize what he had done. He seemed like outside of his body. Like he said that he would never hurt me, and he was confused.
Okay. Had he ever hurt you before of that incident?
Never.
Okay. All right. And so ultimately, did you leave with Mubarak, leave your work that day when you finished work?
Yes.
Okay. And was there a problem with his car?
Yes, his car had the boot on it.
Okay, these are one of these immobilizing boots that like a city of New Haven puts on vehicles, that sort of thing?
Yes.
All right.
Car had the boot.
And so did you ultimately go back to your apartment on that Tuesday evening?
Yes.
Okay. And can you describe his behavior as it went through the evening and into that Tuesday night into Wednesday?
It was very erratic and paranoid.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And did it raise concerns on your part?
Yes, it did raise concerns. I asked him if he wanted to go to the hospital. I offered to take him to the hospital. I asked him if he wanted to call a family member. But yes, I was very concerned.
Okay. And what did he say when you offered to call the hospital, call a family member, those sorts of questions to him?
He did not want to do that.
Okay. All right. In the middle of that Tuesday night, did you have a discussion with him, or did he have a discussion with you about his mental state?
Yes. At one point throughout the evening, he admitted that he was in a psychosis.
Okay. And had he ever been that way before with you?
Never.
Okay. All right. And that night, did Mubarak sleep at all?
No.
Okay. All right. And how would you describe his behavior?
It was erratic, paranoid, disorganized.
Okay. All right. So that next day, which is the day of the shooting, which was the 15th of January 2020, did you go to work that morning?
Yes.
Okay. And while you were at work, did Mubarak come to your work site?
Yes.
All right. How was he acting then when he came to your work at that morning of January 20th?
He was still his behavior was a little bit worse. He was still acting erratic and paranoid.
Okay. All right. And was this like what he was saying, the way he looked, a combination of those things? How are you drawing these conclusions about his behavior?
It was, his what he was saying didn't make a ton of sense. He did look a little bit out of it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And did he tell you about his plans for that day, what he was going to do?
Yes, he told me he was going to play basketball in Norwalk and get his hair cut.
Okay. And since his car was kind of immobilized, I guess, did he say how he was going to get down to Norwalk?
Take the train.
Okay. All right. As he was on, or later that day, as that day went along, did you have contact with Mubarak?
His phone had died throughout the day, but I did have contact with him later. He texted me.
Okay. You remember what the text said?
He asked me if I was still at work.
Okay. So that was a bit in the afternoon you got that text?
Yes.
Okay.
Around, I believe, 3:42.
3:42. Okay. And did you text him back?
Yes, I texted him back around 4:11.
Okay. And did you have any further contact with him after 4:11 on January 20th?
Not that I recall.
Okay. And did you try to call him after that, or did you make any efforts to reach out to him?
I can't remember, but I believe so because of I was concerned for him.
Okay, all right. And throughout this time, you were still in a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you cared about him?
Yes.
At some point after this happened, maybe months after this happened, well, let me take it back. At some point, did you learn that the incident where Mr. Suleiman died, a knife was involved in that? Did you learn about that?
Yes.
Okay. And did that prompt you to take a look around your own apartment?
Yes.
And what'd you see?
I noticed that a knife from my knife block was missing.
Okay, all right. And this is a knife block. Where was that kept in your house?
In the kitchen on a shelf.
Okay. And what sort of knives did you keep in your knife block?
It's just a standard knife block. It had just standard knives.
Okay, all right.
I think I've sprained my thumb.
Should be two. No, there should be more than a knife block. Okay. Knife holder.
The clerk has all the pictures already. This is interesting. She's calling for it from him.
Picture of the knife holder. Yeah, that's what I gave you. We give that.
I might make the counter a little smaller.
Great, thank you. Go on.
So that would be
This is exhibit 59.
for ID.
For ID. So, Ms. Johnson, I want to show you this picture, which is about exhibit 59 for identification. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
And what's that picture of?
My knife block.
Okay. And the slots in there, they would be slots for knives in there?
Yes.
Okay. And when it was, say, before January 20th, 2020, were all these slots filled up with knives?
Yes.
I would offer this, Your Honor, to no objection.
Full exhibit.
Mark this as a full exhibit, please, Mr. Can I publish this as a jury, Your Honor?
You may.
So, Ms. Johnson, when you learned that a knife was involved in the incident, and it was, you inspected your kitchen, what did you notice? You notice the knife was missing?
Yes.
And so, ultimately, did you ever see, when you were dealing with Mubarak, when you were in your relationship for those number of months before it happened, did you know him to carry weapons?
No, he never carried a weapon.
Okay. Did he ever steal anything from you?
No.
Okay. Did you ever see him with a knife?
Never.
All right. I think you said this before, but other than this incident with biting your tongue, had he ever been physically aggressive with you?
He had never been physically aggressive.
Okay. And so at some point, thank you very much. Did the investigators come to your apartment and show you an actual knife?
Yes.
Okay. And this is marked Exhibit 2A. Take evidence tape over this. And they showed you an actual physical knife, correct?
Yes.
And did you recognize that knife when they showed it to you?
Yes.
And what was that knife?
It was my knife.
From the knife?
From the knife block.
Okay.
I am so focused. I can't do anything else. ASMR in this courtroom is just... Usually it's quiet. Is he breaking it? He's standing in front of the mic. Oh my goodness. Do we need a knife to open the knife?
Sorry about this. I should have brought something.
Well wrapped. Did you do that, Mr. Devlin?
We'll get to this eventually.
Help is on the way, Mr. Devlin.
Yeah, oh, good. All right, great.
He has a pair of scissors. And he's still just pulling at the tape. Now we go for the cut. Oh, look how easy that was. We could have cut through all the layers.
So, showing you this item, Ms. Johnson, is that the knife from your knife set?
Yes.
Okay. And you told that to the investigators when they showed this to you?
Yes.
Any objections to being introduced? No objection.
That's 2A?
Yes, 2A.
So 2A, full exhibit, no objection.
Thank you. Pass this among the jury, Your Honor?
You may.
Is it allowed, Vicky? Hang on. Did they just pass the knife around to the jury? Did they just pass the weapon? What the actual...
Showing this photograph, which is in our state exhibit 2 for identification. Is that a photograph of this knife that you just identified?
Yes.
Okay, and it's with a measuring device that shows us approximately...
Why do we pass the photograph instead of the actual knife?
Yes.
Okay. I'd offer this photograph as well. Any objection?
No objection.
Exhibit 2, full exhibit.
Now that we've given you the actual knife, we're going to pass around a picture with a ruler so you can, for reference, so you can tell how big it is. Oh my goodness.
And we just project that too.
Wait till you get to the firearm. Wait till you get to the firearm.
Okay, so that's the photograph that was just introduced. And did you, so you became aware this knife was missing after this incident, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, and you did not see Mubarak take it?
No, I did not.
Okay. But you presume that he did because the next day or within a few days it was missing from the slot in the knife holder?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you. I have no further questions. Thank you.
Mr. Riccio?
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Ms. Johnson.
Good morning.
My name is Frank Riccio. I represent
Trooper Brian North in this case. So I'm just going to ask you some questions, if I may. Now, it sounds like you were in a relationship with Mubarak for about 6 months?
Yes. From August to January.
All right. And you had testified that he had had episodes, correct, due to his illness?
Just the one before the incident.
Okay. And that was the episode that we're referring to is when he bit your tongue, was it?
Yes.
Okay. So for 6 months, did you see him on a daily basis, weekly basis? How often did you see him?
So I would say we met in March of 2019 and then started dating in August of 2019 and saw each other pretty consistently.
Okay. And you met at is it a smoke shop?
A vape store.
Okay. Was he there just buying stuff?
Yes.
Okay. Now, during this 6 month period of time, is it your testimony that he only had one episode that you can recall?
Yes.
All right. Now, as a result of this erratic behavior, using your wording, as a result of the erratic behavior you saw between January 10 and 15, or January 10 and 14 of 2020, did it cause you concern where you called his mother or his family to say, you know, Mubarak is not acting right?
I didn't have the numbers of the family, but I tried to encourage him to call his family, and I asked him if he wanted to go to the hospital on several occasions.
All right. Tell me about those several occasions that you encouraged him to go to the hospital and he didn't want to go. Was it during the course of that 6 month period of time, or was it closer?
No. This was strictly on Tuesday evening.
All right. And so you were so concerned that you asked him, dare I say, begged him to go to the hospital, and he didn't go, correct?
Yes.
All right. You personally were concerned for your own welfare, correct?
Yes.
Did you call the police?
No.
All right. And we know you didn't call his family because I believe you said you didn't have their information, correct?
Right.
Did you ask Mubarak, call your mom, call your doctor, please call somebody?
Yes.
Did he?
No. Not that I know of.
Okay. Now, it sounded like he came and visited you at your job frequently?
Yes.
We can agree that when he came, while you may have been aware of what his mental illnesses were, really the general public had no idea, correct? They didn't know him that way, correct?
Correct.
You would have only known that he had or suffered from mental illness if you knew him personally, or you had prior occasions to talk to him and speak to him, correct?
Correct.
Now, you've seen what's been admitted as State's Exhibit 2. This is a knife taken from your house. Can we agree on that?
Yes.
And this knife was taken the day before this incident occurred, correct?
I don't know when the knife was taken.
Okay, but it was taken and it was in his possession before this incident occurred, correct?
I believe so.
Okay, well, you identified the knife as the knife that came from your knife block.
Yes.
And in fact, you had given a statement to police, and you admitted that, yes, that is the knife that came from my knife block, correct?
Correct.
And when police came to your house and police asked, can we come into your house and look at your knife block? You're like, oh my gosh, there's an empty space there. That empty space plus viewing that knife led you to believe he took my knife, correct?
Yes.
You didn't give him permission to take that knife, correct?
No.
And in fact, you didn't know that he took your knife, correct?
No.
You didn't know why he took that knife, correct?
Correct.
The absence of that knife combined with his erratic, manic state is concerning, correct?
Correct.
The possession of a knife like that in possession of someone going through a manic, erratic, disorganized episode is concerning. We can agree on that?
Yes.
I have no other questions, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Nothing further. Thank you, Ms. Johnson.
All right, thank you. Ma'am, you may step down. You're excused.
Your Honor, the next couple of state's witnesses have been, I'm told, delayed coming into the courthouse, so if we could have a recess so I can get them lined up to testify.
Sure, we'll take the morning recess. 20 minutes.
Thank you.
All right.
2 more ums and ahs from the judge. We're going to take just a little break here and skip ahead. Quick catch up on our thumbnail, where we are so far. Great work. I've seen a couple people who are really, really putting in their effort on this. I appreciate that. I appreciate those who know that they're maybe lacking somewhat in the skill. At this point, I'll have to say I appreciate you being on the sidelines for this one. It helps. It helps those that are able to size things. We realize that the picture is a little more mountainous than Connecticut would be, especially for this area. But it is what it is. You can't count my uhs, by the way. I say
Session, you may be seated.
Yeah.
Good morning again, Your Honor. We need the state here.
Yeah, we do, and I believe that they're arranging for their next witness.
I believe so, Your Honor. I believe they might be just outside the door. May I step out?
Could you please? Thank you.
Your Honor, we need the state. They're not here. We called the court to order without the other party. Let's make a quick call. Maybe order some pizza. It's not too soon to line up lunch. Defendant's out on bond, $50,000 bond. This is it New Haven or West Haven? It's one of the Havens.
I will try. Okay. Attorney Devlin is not on this floor. I just called him in his office. He's on his way over.
But do they have a witness, or do they need more time?
I believe they do.
Looks like maybe. Do we have a witness, Mr. Devlin?
We do.
Okay, thank you.
Suresh Patel to the witness stand, please. What's this?
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or solemnly sincerely affirm, as the case may be, that the evidence you should give concerning this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or upon penalty of perjury? May you please state your first and last name for the record?
Suresh Patel.
May you please spell out your last name for the record?
Patel.
May you please state your address for the record?
I live at Sesame Street, right next to Oscar the Grouch.
51
Norwalk.
Thank you, sir.
Not Mark. Mark. Mr. Patel, do you own a Shell gas station in Norwalk, Connecticut?
That is correct, yes.
What's the address of your gas station?
551 Main Avenue, Norwalk, Connecticut.
Okay, and can you just describe the premises, what it looks like?
It's a gas station with a convenience store.
Okay, and how many pumps do you have?
6 of them.
Okay, and there's like a canopy over the pumps themselves?
Correct, yes.
All right. Do you have any surveillance cameras that are part of your business?
Yes, sir. We have 16 cameras around.
16?
Wow. Yeah.
Okay, and basically where are they located?
8 of them inside, 8 outside. So total 4 on the canopies.
Okay.
There's 6 in the beer.
And directing your attention to January 15, 2020.
2 on the cash register.
Did the Norwalk Police Department come to your business and request some recordings from some of those cameras?
Yes, sir.
And what did they ask for?
They asked for video surveillance, and my manager provided it to them.
Okay. On the date of January 20th, within a certain time frame?
Not sure.
Okay.
Right. I don't know the exact time now.
All right. And were you present during the afternoon of January 20th at your student?
No, I was not.
Okay. All right. Now, within the past, say, week or so, and then earlier today, did you take a look at some camera footage from your gas station?
Yes.
And did you recognize it as accurate footage from your gas station?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let me show you this.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if we're going to get to see this.
86, marked as ID.
This is Exhibit 6, and part of this has a Shell gas station. Did you want any objection to that?
No objection.
So let's play this. Okay.
A full exhibit in the absence of any objection. We're not sure what it is.
It's a video from the service station on January 20th in the afternoon.
Is it on the 20th or the 15th?
This is on the 15th, excuse me, 15th.
I need you guys to volunteer and count.
On the 20th.
And then I'll just update
I think
the
it might
count.
have been grabbed on the 15th later in the day. So if I said the 20th, I misspoke. It's still January 15th.
All right, then just, and the witness is indicating that that is what it is. Is that
Correct, yes.
Full exhibit.
We're looking,
stop it right there.
we're looking at the back of the TV.
Okay, this is a overhead shot of your service station, sir?
Correct.
Okay, and which camera is the one that's taking that picture?
Number 2.
No, number 2, over pump number 2?
Correct.
All right, and as you're looking at that, where would Main Avenue be?
On the left-hand side.
Left-hand side, so
Yes.
Main
Still
Avenue is in
ongoing.
front of your gas station?
We're catching up.
And so could you advance it, please? Stop it there, please, for a second. So that's a white car that's entering your gas station, correct?
Correct.
Not stopping to get gas?
Correct.
All right, advance it, please. Okay, hold on one second. So a gentleman just got out of the front seat of that car, right? Right, Mr. Patel?
Yes, sir.
All right, go ahead, please advance it. Stop it. And another gentleman with pink pants got out of the back seat of the car. You see that? Go back, please. Turn your slit. Let's play it again. It's just on the edge of the field of the camera, so it's sort of hard to see.
Yeah.
This seems
Yes.
very leading.
Okay.
Yep.
Keep playing it, please. And that, excuse me, stop it. Did the gentleman with the pink pants get in the front driver's portion of the car?
Yes.
And the other gentleman who had gotten out of the driver's portion of the car, he's sort of standing by the front door of the car?
Correct.
All right, please advance it, please. Nope, stop it. And that looks like maybe possibly a police officer is running up to the car there?
Yes.
All right. Does it look like he's trying to open the door?
Yes.
Okay, please play it. But the car drives away.
Yeah.
Could you stop it now? So that street, that white car is taking a right onto, do you know the name of that street?
That Main Avenue.
Okay, and is turning on the right-hand turn, do you know the right-hand turn street is?
Yes.
What's that called?
Grace Mill Road.
Okay, so Grist Mill Road. So you can see that white car turning onto Grist Mill Road. Please play it again. Stop it. Looks like a police car might be following that car.
Correct. Correct. Yeah.
Please advance it. Additional police cars look like they're following?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is that, thank you. Okay, that's the end of it. So let's play the first part of that again, please, Chair Slip. So the white car entered the picture, and the driver get out, then the back passenger get out, the back passenger takes the driver's seat and drives away, basically, right?
That is correct. Yes.
Mr. Riccio?
Thank you, Your Honor. Morning, sir.
Morning.
Just a couple of questions, sir, if I may.
Sure.
All right, sir, I'm going to ask that we watch this video one more time from beginning to end, and then I'm going to ask you some questions, okay?
Okay.
All right.
While they're watching the video, I'm going to show you. We have a couple people who are working on the
Now,
thumbnail.
again, sir, as the video runs, you first see the driver of the car exit the driver's side, correct?
And you said you're going to watch it forward
and then
to
soon
back.
after, the
then ask
rear driver's side, the gentleman in the pink pants jumps out of the car and immediately gets into the driver's seat, correct?
Correct.
The original driver, is now brandishing a gun and pointing it at the gentleman in the pink pants?
Well, I don't see the gun, but he was doing something.
He was
pointing something.
He was
Correct.
pointing something,
Correct. I'm not sure that what it is.
Sure.
Right.
And then
This case is
we
still live
saw
right now,
a
but we're
police
behind.
officer come to the driver's side of that car in an attempt to try to enter it.
Correct.
All right. Were you working at the time that this incident occurred at that location?
No, I wasn't.
Okay. Now, we just saw a police officer not only at the gas station, but also other police cars driving up and down Main Avenue, correct?
Correct.
Were you aware that police were already en route for a report of a knife being pulled at the AT&T store across the street?
At that moment, no.
Okay. Was this the gentleman whose car it was, the gentleman who exited the driver's seat and then didn't get back in the car? Were you aware that the man in the pink pants had assaulted him in that car?
No, I was not.
Okay. All right, sir. Thank you very much.
No further questions. Thank you, Mr. Patel.
Thank you, Mr. Patel. You are excused. You're all set.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next witness is Sergeant Bisegli from the Norwalk Police Department. He's coming right in, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Devlin.
What, did you mark the sketch? Okay.
I wonder if they're going to have the police officer give away his address. We'll turn it off if they do. But.
Right this way, please. What do you want to put down? Okay, I'll stand this.
If you raise your right hand, do you solemnly swear or solemnly sincerely affirm, as the case may be, that the evidence you shall give concerning this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or upon penalty of perjury?
I do.
Please state your first name and your last name for the record.
Justin Bisegli.
Please spell out your last name for the record.
Bisegli.
Please state your shield number and your business address, please.
B028, 1 Monroe Street, Norwalk, Connecticut.
We can listen to that.
You may sit and pull up to the mic so you can speak right into it. Thank you.
We would ask that
Sergeant Bisegli, directing your attention to January 15th, 2020.
only things that apply to the court case be added to the thumbnail, please.
At that time.
City of Norwalk Police Department.
All right. And you were a sworn police officer at the police department?
Yes.
All right. And what was your rank?
Sergeant.
In connection with your, how long had you been a police officer as of 2020?
I was hired in 2008, so
12 years?
Yeah.
Okay. And are you generally familiar with the streets of Norwalk?
Yes.
All right. And I want to show you this marked State's Exhibit number 3 for identification. Do you recognize this as a sort of Google map of the area of Main Avenue and Gristmill Road in Norwalk, Connecticut?
Yes.
Any objection to this?
No objection.
So then you can mark this as full number 2.
Full number 3.
So I want to show you this, Sergeant.
That's a huge map.
Would you please point out Main Avenue in Norwalk, Connecticut? Okay. And Grist Mill Road? Okay. And does Grist Mill Road connect with the Route 7 connector?
Yes.
Okay. And does that ultimately connect down to Interstate 95?
Yes.
All right. And can you identify on that map the approximate location of a Shell gas station that's near the intersection of Main Avenue and Grist Mill Road? Okay, sir, outlined in blue there? Yep. Okay, and can you also indicate the approximate location of the AT&T store that is, I think it's number 584 okay, so this is the AT&T store, and then maybe about almost like a block down the road is the Shell gas station?
You could, excuse me just for a second, Mr. Devlin. I just wanted to make sure that the jury.
Yeah, that would be good if he's good there.
Okay,
just be cognizant. Okay, sorry I interrupted. Continue.
Tripod's falling.
The distance between this AT&T store and this Shell gas station, what would you say it is?
Probably a quarter mile.
Okay. And then is the gas station pretty much right next to the intersection of Grist Mill Road?
Yes.
Okay. And how far is it from this intersection to where you can connect up with Route 7?
Probably another quarter mile.
Okay, good. Can you take the witness stand yet? Thanks. So on January 15, 2020, at about 4:30 in the afternoon, did Norwalk dispatch, Norwalk Police Department dispatch units to that AT&T store, 584 Main Avenue in Norwalk?
Yes.
All right. And did they indicate what the complaint was from the store?
There's an individual in the store that displayed a knife.
Okay. You were on duty that afternoon, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And when that dispatch was made, do you remember approximately where you were, what your location was?
I was downtown Norwalk somewhere, not exactly sure where.
Okay. And did you make inquiries to dispatch about more detail about the complaint?
Yes.
And what'd you learn?
I learned that the individual entered the store, displayed a knife, and then shortly thereafter left the store.
Okay. And did you ask any further follow-up questions about the incident?
I asked if there was any threat of violence, if he used the knife in any way, if there was any sort of threat of violence made.
Okay. And what'd you learn?
That there was not.
Okay. And when the report was made by the store to the police department, was the subject still in the store?
I don't know.
Okay. But at some point, did the subject leave the store?
Yes.
All right. Did the dispatch put out any information about how the suspect left the store?
He got into a vehicle.
Okay. And any description of that vehicle?
I don't recall the description offhand.
All right. Did they give, you remember, you might remember what the plate number was? Do you remember they put out a plate number for the vehicle?
I believe they did, but I don't recall the exact dispatch.
Okay. And so ultimately, did you receive communication from an Officer Vasquez?
Yes.
And what did you learn?
I learned that that vehicle was pulling into the Shell station at the corner of Grist Mill and Main.
Okay. And he had Officer Vasquez responded to the AT&T store based on the initial complaint?
Yes.
May not have gotten there, but he was going in that direction?
Yes.
Okay. And then his attention was directed down to the Shell gas station?
That's my understanding.
Okay. And what happened at the Shell gas station?
He observed the vehicle, parked at a gas pump. There was a male outside of the vehicle and another male inside of the vehicle.
Okay. And what happened?
The vehicle took off shortly after that.
All right. Okay. And it took off. The person that drove away from the vehicle, was that the original driver of the vehicle?
No, the original driver of the vehicle was outside of the vehicle.
Okay.
At the time, Officer Vasquez stepped out with it.
Okay. And the passenger in the vehicle actually drove off in the vehicle?
Yes.
Okay. In a essentially stolen car situation?
Correct.
All right. And so what happened after that?
The units, they were responding to the area, said they were in pursuit of the vehicle, traveling on Grist Mill towards the connector.
Okay. How many units were involved in that? Do you know?
I don't know offhand, 3 or 4 probably.
Okay. All right. So this car is taken at the gas station. The gas station proceeds up Grist Mill Road and onto the Route 7 connector?
Yes.
And Norwalk Police Department cars were following it?
Correct.
Okay. And what happened after that?
I heard the pursuit put over the air, so I was still responding to that general location, the AT&T store. They said that they were heading southbound on Route 7 connector at about 90 miles an hour. I was approaching exit to northbound, so I cut across the median and turned my car facing southbound to get ready to get involved in the pursuit.
Okay, so in this map here you just looked at, this connector ultimately turns southbound toward 95?
Correct.
Okay. All right, so you went through the median, you got yourself oriented southbound on the Route 7 connector. What happened next?
I observed a state trooper parked on the shoulder at a car stop near exit 1.
Okay.
And I informed him that we had a stolen car traveling south, and our radio is tied up with a lot of radio chatter, so I asked if they could notify their dispatch.
Okay. Were you monitoring the broadcasts of these officers that were pursuing this car?
Yes.
Okay. What'd you learn from that?
I learned that it was purely a stolen car at that point. There was no crime of violence that they were aware of. They were traveling southbound around 90 miles an hour. Traffic was moderate. Weather was clear and dry.
Okay. Did this pursuit eventually pass your location?
Yes.
What'd you see?
I saw the vehicle pass me with 2 Norwalk cars closely behind, and then I engaged as well.
Okay. And were they broadcasting their speeds as they were sort of pursuing this vehicle down Route 7?
Yes, they were continuing anywhere from 70 to 90 miles an hour.
Okay. Did you get any additional information from dispatch as this is all unfolding?
Yes, I asked dispatch, again, if there was any sort of crime of violence that occurred in the store. I was aware at that time that the owner of the vehicle displayed a firearm when his car was stolen. So I wanted to inquire if that firearm was still in the vehicle or if it was in that person's possession. Dispatch stated that the complainant had that gun with him. There was no firearm in the vehicle, and there was no crime of violence that occurred in the store.
So the gun was the initial driver's gun?
Correct.
Not the person who took the car's gun?
Correct.
Okay. And so did you make a decision at that point about the pursuit?
We were getting close to 95, and I could see it was rush hour traffic, very heavy traffic, and based on there was no crime of violence that occurred, I terminated the pursuit at that time. Okay, and how did you do that? I got over Channel 1 and instructed all units to terminate the pursuit. We then conducted a roll call to ensure that all units did in fact stop pursuing the vehicle. Okay, and terminate means the cars just stop pursuing the vehicle and they go back to their regular patrol? Lights and sirens go off and they pull off the pursuit, yes. Okay, all right. And the roll call was to ensure what? That everybody heard the transmission and actually stopped pursuing. Okay, and was that successful, the roll call? Yes. Okay. Did you learn more about this with the car being taken after this pursuit was ended? Did you follow up on that? I returned back to the scene at the AT&T store. Okay. Because the investigation was still continuing there. Okay. And did you talk to Daniel Green, the fellow who was the owner of this car to begin with? Yes, he was at the scene. And what did he tell you? He told me that he was, I believe, a Lyft driver and brought him to the store, and then when he came out of the store, he got in the back of the car, at some point hit him in the back of the head, which time he pulled into the Shell station, and that's when Officer Vasquez pulled up. Okay. And when Mr. Green pulled into the gas station, he got out of the vehicle? Got out of the vehicle. And did he display his firearm at that time? Yes. Okay. All right. But it was a legal firearm for Mr. Green? Correct. All right. At some point, did you learn that, well, first off, the information that you just told the jury about, was that conveyed to the state police in Troop G in Bridgeport? I notified our dispatch to put over the hotline the last location of the vehicle and the incident that occurred to Westport and State Police in case the car continues through their jurisdiction.
Okay.
Our dispatch then contacted State Police on the phone, I believe, to give them further details of the incident.
Okay. So what's the hotline?
The hotline is a statewide system where a department can just broadcast immediately to all agencies in the area.
Okay. Okay. So it would be the agencies in the area of Norwalk, Connecticut?
Yes, I believe so. I don't know the exact range that ours.
Okay. But it would include Bridgeport Troop G?
Yes.
Okay. And ultimately, did you learn that after Norwalk terminated, and pursuit was terminated kind of approximately where Route 7 intersects with I-95?
Right about there, yes.
Okay. And did you later learn that the state police had re-engaged a pursuit with this vehicle?
Yes.
Okay. And that the vehicle was stopped in the vicinity of exit 43 in Interstate 95?
Yes.
All right. And did you learn there had been an officer-involved shooting at that location?
Yes.
Okay. And did you invite your superior officer, Lieutenant Hume, of this information?
Yes.
And did he direct you to go to West Haven?
Yes.
Okay. And what'd you do?
I proceeded up to West Haven, and I met with one of the state police supervisors up there, Sergeant Kiley, I believe.
Okay.
I spoke with him about the incident that happened in Norwalk. I asked if there's anything he needed from myself or our agency, gave him my contact information, and that was that.
And so, did you receive additional information from Sergeant Kiley about the incident?
Just there had been officer-involved shooting involving a trooper.
Okay. And did you learn about the condition of the person who was shot?
Yes.
What was that?
He was deceased.
Deceased, okay. And so when you terminated a pursuit, you did it because you made an assessment that it was not a crime of violence and therefore didn't warrant this dangerous pursuit. Is that basically it?
Yes.
Okay. And did you, and it wasn't a carjacking incident?
Correct.
Okay. And were you aware that the Norwalk Police Department, after the pursuit was terminated in Norwalk, that the Norwalk Police Department subsequently notified Troop G that it was a carjacking incident? Were you aware of that?
I was aware of that well after the incident occurred.
All right. And that was just a mistake?
I don't know how that information got relayed via our dispatch to them.
Okay. That was inconsistent, though, with your assessment of the situation?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And, you know, so we use this term carjacking, but in terms of your law enforcement training, is there a difference between a carjacking and an ordinary automobile theft?
I mean, ordinary automobile theft involves no physical force when the vehicle was taken.
Okay, and carjacking does?
Carjacking does.
Okay, so carjacking is like a robbery of the forcible taking of the vehicle, some kind of threat of weapon or physical force of some kind or another?
Yes.
Okay, good, thank you. And so your decision to terminate the pursuit was part about the traffic conditions and the speed, but in part that the information you had did not support this being a carjacking incident. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. No further questions.
Mr. Riccio.
No further questions.
You can take it down.
You can take that down. Take your sign with you. There's the defendant.
Sergeant Segley, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Appropriately dressed for court.
So I just want to ask you some questions about what Attorney Devlin just asked you about. I want to start off with the information that either you knew or you were told about. And you were told about, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this incident that happened at the AT&T store, right?
Yes.
There was a complaint made. Police were called because a man had a knife in the AT&T store, correct?
Correct.
Now, did you see that or did you hear that from someone else?
I got that from our dispatch.
I'm bailing on the counter.
Now,
we're going to go back to objections, which is still at 0.
Did you learn either from dispatch, meaning in real time, or did you learn subsequent that there was an individual wearing pink pants who pulled a knife on at least one employee at the AT&T store?
Yes.
Were you also advised that the same individual tried to take a phone from the AT&T store or otherwise grab it out of the employee's hand in a very rough sort of way. Had you heard about that?
Yes.
Okay. Did you know that the suspect was in and out of the AT&T store on multiple occasions before he ultimately left in a Lyft, the car ride share program? Were you aware of that?
No.
Were you aware that the employees of the AT&T store were so scared about what happened that upon the suspect leaving for the last time, they locked the door because they were so scared?
No.
Now, you had testified that there was no crime of violence, but can we agree that if someone pulls a knife on you and you're not expecting it, that's pretty darn scary? Can we agree on that?
Yes.
I'll add an additional fact that if you're a young person, in your teens or 20s, or of any age, trying to simply do your job and make ends meet, to go to work and have a knife pulled on you, you didn't sign up for that, correct?
Correct.
And to the person that the knife was pulled on, that could be an extraordinarily scary situation. Can we agree on that?
Yes.
All right. Additionally, with this additional fact, if you will, that the suspect in this case tried to take a phone or otherwise snatch a phone out of a person's hand, again, you don't sign up for that either. You're just trying to sell phones at a cell phone store. Can we agree on that?
I would object to that, Your Honor, because I don't think that is factually accurate that he took the phone out of somebody's hand. So I disagree with the form of the question.
Form of the question, sir. I'll sustain that.
Sure. It's fair to say that if you're working in a cell phone store, you expect to work your day-to-day job without there being any incidents where you have to be concerned about customers that come in and act in a strange way, correct?
Okay. Yes.
All right. Now, you then learned about the car theft at the Shell station, and it was initially reported, correct me if I'm wrong, as a stolen car, correct?
Yes.
Now, you then discussed you didn't discuss the rules, but we're going to talk about what the rules are regarding vehicle pursuits. Now, isn't it true that it's generally discouraged for police officers to engage in pursuits if the complaint is that it's only a stolen car?
Correct.
And to say it differently, it's generally discouraged that pursuits occur if there's no violence, meaning violence had just occurred, is about to occur, correct? So with the absence of violence having taken place or about to take place, pursuits are generally discouraged.
Yes.
All right. In this particular case, and you had just testified that there were multiple members of Norwalk PD that did pursue this stolen car from Main Avenue onto Route 7, correct?
Yes.
And it's fair to say that the driver of that car was driving recklessly, speeds of 90 miles an hour on Route 7, correct?
Yes.
Riute 7 is a very heavily traveled road. Can we agree?
Yes.
Route 7 empties into I-95. I-95 in Fairfield County, one of the most heavily traveled roads probably in the country, correct?
Yes.
Let's add to that this happened during rush hour on a Wednesday, correct?
Yes.
So you have a stolen car driving 90 miles an hour down Route 7 in heavy traffic, correct? Was the traffic on Route 7 heavy as the suspect was driving 90 down Route 7?
No, it was not heavy.
It was not heavy?
No.
But it was moderate?
Yes.
Okay. Rush hour on a Wednesday, correct?
Yes.
And there were multiple units following him. In fact, at some point, and you wrote a memo on this, that you were actually behind him as well.
Yes.
And while you specifically were behind him, you, I believe, stated that you observed him hitting, he being the driver, speeds of up to 90 miles an hour.
Yes.
You were receiving information from others, meaning other Norwalk police officers, about the status of the pursuit, correct? There were other police officers telling you what they saw and what the suspect was doing, correct?
Yes.
And you had heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you had heard from other officers that he was driving recklessly, meaning fast, on a heavily traveled road during rush hour. That's what you were hearing from the other officers, correct?
They gave me the speed, the traffic condition, and the weather.
Right. And the weather, do you remember what the weather was that particular day?
It was clear and dry.
All right. And then ultimately, this pursuit, for lack of a better term, because that was the terminology I heard, but you followed the suspect car off of Route 7 and onto I-95, correct?
Yes.
All right. Once he entered I-95, the suspect entered I-95, that's when the pursuit was essentially called off?
Yes.
Okay. Now, ultimately, minutes later, isn't it true that Norwalk called Troop G and specifically told Troop G that the suspect in this car, that this was a carjacking, the suspect is armed with a knife?
I don't know the verbiage that was used.
You may not know the verbiage, but can we agree that Norwalk, after the pursuit was broken off by you, notified Troop G that the suspect, that it was a carjacking armed with a knife?
I don't know that the words carjacking were used.
Okay. But we can agree that words to that effect were transmitted to Troop G.
Without hearing exactly what was said, I'm not comfortable saying what was or was not said.
Okay. Can I have a moment, Your Honor?
Yes, sir.
We're gonna play it. I don't have it right now to play.
Apparently they don't have the audio.
Actually, we just have one more moment.
That was a brief moment, but now they get one more moment. That's 2 moments in a row.
Your Honor, if the court pleases, I'd like to show or show through listening some of the transmissions for Troop G. It's going to take the parties about 5 minutes to find it. Could I ask the court to take a brief recess with the court's permission and the jury's permission?
And this is something that you've discussed with the state?
Yeah, no objection, no objection. We'll find this. We'll find that part. We're gonna play it anyway, but we can find it now and play it later.
All right. Yeah. So we'll take, what do you need? 5, 10 minutes?
I know where it is. We just have to tee it up in the correct.
So do you need like 5 minutes or 10 minutes?
10 minutes.
10 minutes recess.
All right.
10 minutes to rewind the tape to the right point. We're gonna take that break for just a second. As we do, let's show you how the thumbnail is coming along. Adam Nuske has really gone to work here. A couple other people. Let's see who's doing this. Looks like Alligator is working well. I appreciate you guys seem to be working well together. We've changed the background. We've now got some replication. We've got the camera. We've got the camera at the gas station, convenience store. We have the bubble wrapped evidence down there in the bottom. That's important. We have a couple items. The jury, Sea Lion. I see you've got the jury there. Juror view. We might need to move them to the other side of the road so they can get a view of what's happening. But and somebody hand them a knife. We're not going to share the link too many more times because the more people we have in there that are working on it, the crazier it gets. So I might actually at some point only give out the link to select individuals who have proven themselves effective and able to do this. But that said, let me skip this little break for us. This is a court case that is still going on. There are no spoilers, please. So don't, if you're watching it or you have watched it or you're researching it, don't share that with us. We don't want to know. Even if you just say, "Hey, I've watched this already," just know that puts you on the hot list for being timed out. We don't want to know, honestly. We don't want to know. So don't ruin it for us. It is still ongoing, but let's jump back here to court. I think we're about ready.
Attorney Riccio and I have agreed that this Exhibit 7, which are these radio calls from Norwalk to Troop G and then some other ones involving Troop G to its troopers, that can come in, and a portion of it, Attorney Riccio wants to play to refresh the recollection of Sergeant Pasego.
Okay, and was that the piece that is queued up now or something like that?
Yes, so I'm going to ask the clerk to mark this as Exhibit 7 by agreement.
There's no objection, Your Honor, and just for the record, Exhibit 7 is all transmissions. I will be asking questions about a couple of those.
Right, but that's going to be a state's exhibit?
Yes.
Okay, I understand. I understand. So that'll be full exhibit, and you'll be ready to go. It was brought to my attention that I left the bench before the jury left. Shouldn't be that way, but that's what I did. I apologize. We'll see if we can do better. I also will take the opportunity just to have the rules that I alluded to at the very beginning today, having to do with media. I'm just going to mark that as a court exhibit so that it's in the record. That'll be court 1. And is there anything else we have to do before we bring the jury back?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
I wonder if they'll be surprised to see me sitting here before they come back in the room. Could we bring them?
Right, correct. No. Keep looking into yours.
You may proceed, Mr. Riccio.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for your patience. Hello, Sergeant Bisegli. Right before the break, I was asking you questions about what transmissions were going over the radio regarding this incident. Do you recall those questions?
Yes.
And I believe your response was when I asked, did you hear any transmissions referring to a carjacking and there was a knife involved, you didn't know. Is that fair to say?
Correct.
If you were to hear the recordings, would that refresh your recollection as to what those transmissions were?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, for purposes of the record, I'm asking the 2 clips be played from State's Exhibit 7, and specifically call ID numbers 469-724 and 439-4724 and 439-4728.
Okay, this is Van I get a call from Norwalk.
Yes.
Just the officer that's on the highway or near the vehicle, let them know their officers telling us to consider a felony stop. They're considered a carjacking now.
I will say.
Sure.
Okay, we'll pass it on to the troopers.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
1422 I took a call from Milwaukee. The officers that are investigating are stating that this is now a carjacking incident. Proceed caution. The individual did have a knife. Thank you, Attorney Slay. Having heard the recordings, does that refresh your recollection as to what went over the radio on this particular day?
Yes.
And is it fair to say that it was broadcast over the radio that this stolen car incident was now being investigated as a carjacking, suspect has a knife?
Correct.
Okay. Now, purely from a timing perspective, if you recall, it seems as though from your reports, from what we understand, that this incident, which started with a stolen car, was, again, the 4 o'clock hour, around 4:30 on that Wednesday afternoon, correct?
Yes.
And the call that two calls that you just heard came in at 4:50 p.m. If I were to tell you that those calls came in or went over the radio at 4:50 p.m., do you have any reason to disagree with that?
No.
All right. And were you aware of the fact that now 4:50 before that, which was I think 4:30, between 4:30 and 4:40, Norwalk was initially describing this as a stolen car incident, correct?
Correct.
4:50, it's now a carjacking, suspect has a knife. We just heard that. Can we agree on that?
Yes.
Norwalk at 5:20, which is after the incident concluded, called Troop G, if you know. In fact, it was, I think, the lieutenant, called back to say, no, it wasn't a carjacking. Sorry, we made our error, or words to that effect. Are you aware that subsequently Norwalk called Troop G and said, no, it's not, it wasn't really a carjacking?
No, not aware of that.
I know one of the people that you interviewed in Norwalk was a man by the name of Daniel Green. Daniel Green was the Lyft driver whose car was stolen, correct?
Yes.
And he lawfully possessed a weapon on this day in question. I think you or members of Norwalk PD made sure of that, correct?
Yes.
He obviously drew his weapon out of what occurred, that his car was just being stolen. So he he pulled out a weapon at the gas station, and that was what was reported to you, correct?
Yes.
He was afraid of what was taking place.
Objection. If the witness doesn't know what
Sustained.
has in mind.
But what was reported was he pulled out a gun, but that didn't stop the suspect from stealing Mr. Green's car, who ultimately took it on a...
Correct.
I had asked earlier, sir, about how, generally speaking, a trooper or police officer cannot engage in a pursuit if there is no violence that was reported. Am I fairly or accurately representing the status of sort of what they call pursuit law?
Yes.
Pursuit, okay. But isn't it also true, sir, that a trooper or police officer may only engage in a pursuit if he or she has reasonable suspicion to believe that the driver or occupant of that car has committed, is attempting to commit, or will imminently commit a crime of violence?
I'm just messing with buttons over here. I'm sorry.
Yes.
And we heard that Norwalk informs Troop G that this was no longer a stolen car incident. This was a carjacking, suspect has a knife. Correct?
Yes.
Crimes of violence as defined, correct?
You're going to stop messing with the buttons.
Thank you, sir. No other questions.
I have a question or two.
Yes, sir.
Sergeant Bisegli, regardless of what was put out on the radio, this was a stolen car case, correct?
Correct.
And the guy moved from the back seat of the car to the front seat of the car with no weapon, no violence, no pushing, just got in the car and drove off, basically, correct?
That's my understanding, yes.
Yeah, okay. So this subsequent broadcast by Norwalk was a mistake. Is that how you characterize it?
I don't even know who coined it a carjacking.
Okay, but that information that you just heard, carjacking, knife involved, that was inconsistent with your investigation into this case.
At the time of the pursuit, yes.
Okay, thank you. No further questions.
Anything?
Just very briefly. While you understood that there was no crime of violence, you did know that the suspect slapped Mr. Green in the head, correct?
That was learned after the fact.
All right, thank you.
Nothing further. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, officer. Thank you. Sergeant, excuse me.
My next witness will be available at 2 o'clock, Your Honor. Okay, thanks.
Okay, then we will take the luncheon recess now, and we'll return at 2. over the period between now and the time you come back, please do not make up your mind or form any opinions about the evidence that you've heard so far. As I've explained to you, you need to have the whole body of evidence before you're allowed to begin to deliberate or even form opinions about this, and don't discuss what you've heard here this morning with anyone, including among yourselves at all, and do not seek out any information beyond what you're hearing in the courtroom, and do not do any independent research or investigation. Do not respond really to any press inquiries that might occur over the break, and have a pleasant lunch.
All right, as they go to break here.
Before you adjourn, could I have take 1 minute with the court after the jury is excused?
Yeah.
Let's see what's happening here.
Would Your Honor permit the state to have custody of Exhibit 7 over the lunch break? That has a couple of different items on it, files on it, one of which I want to show to the next witness to authenticate it before she gets on the stand to testify.
Do you have objection? Oh, go ahead.
So I don't know if there's objection.
Do you have objection to that, Mr. Ricky?
Objection.
Okay, the state can do that. You want to?
I'll return to the clerk at 2 o'clock.
Okay.
I'm going to take the evidence home with me. Is that okay, Judge?
I had noticed that one of the jurors seemed a little sleepy during the presentation before the last break, and then also once after the last break. I propose to continue to observe. Would you have me do something else at this point?
Not yet.
No, Your Honor, not yet. All right. Then we're in a recess.
All rise.
All right. As they go to recess, we are going to we're going to skip that break. We are catching up as fast as we can. So let's. I think we're going to end their day when we take lunch. Let's see here. Back up a little bit. We only have a little bit of time left. Let's see. There we go. Great work on the thumbnail so far. It's really coming together.
Can counsel stipulate to the presence of 6 jurors and 3 alternates?
Will do.
Yes, Your Honor.
6 jurors. I thought it was 12.
Mr. Devlin.
So 6
Okay,
jurors.
our next witness
3
is Giovanna Padilla.
Come right this witness, please. That question, please.
And we will catch up because anyone who spoils it is going to get banned.
If you said your hand, you solemnly swear
So
or
we'll never know.
sincerely affirm
Catch
this
up
case to
coming
be,
up.
that the evidence you shall give concerning this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God or upon penalty of perjury?
Yes.
May you please state your first name and last name for the record?
Giovanna Padilla.
May you please spell out your last name for the record?
Padilla.
May you please spell it?
Spell it Padilla.
May you please state your address for the record?
64.
Thank you, ma'am.
Please be seated. And pull yourself up to the microphone so we can hear. Thank you.
Ms. Padilla, directing your attention to January 15th, 2020, about 4 years ago, were you employed by a business in Norwalk, Connecticut?
Yes.
And where'd you work?
AT&T.
Okay. And how long had you been working there?
A year.
Okay. And this, what basically was the business there?
Selling phones.
Selling cell phones? Okay.
Cell phones, yes.
And what was your job?
I was selling cell phones.
Like a sales associate?
Yes.
Okay. And who was the supervisor?
Alex.
Alex? Okay. And on January 15th, what hours were you working that day?
I was working 11 to 7 p.m.
All right. And around 4:30-ish or so, approximately, did you remember a customer coming into the store?
Yes.
Okay. And what do you remember about him?
When he came in, he just wanted to get a new line, a new cell phone.
Okay. And can you describe it for me?
Describe the guy?
Yeah.
So he was tall. He was taller than me. He was dark skinned.
Okay. Anything about his clothing?
Pink pants.
Pink pants. Okay.
Yes.
And how about coat, jacket, anything like that?
He had a coat.
Coat. All right. And so he wanted to buy an iPhone?
Buy an iPhone, yes.
All right. And what's the procedure when a customer, a potential customer, wants to buy an iPhone?
You have to run the credit.
Okay. Before you decide if you can sell the cell phone?
Check the credit before it.
Okay. And so when you were interacting with this person, how did he appear?
His personality kept changing during the conversation.
How so?
It was random. He was happy, then he was mad, then he was...
Okay.
Yeah.
And was it kind of unpredictable how from one to the next? All right.
Yes.
And in connection with your job in terms of seeing if you qualified to get a phone, did you ask him for some identification?
Yes.
And what happened?
He gave me his passport.
Okay. All right. In connection with doing the credit check on him, did you have to put his social security number into the database that you have?
Yes.
Okay. And how'd that go?
So I had to put in his social in the tablet, but he snatched the tablet from my hands.
Okay. So he wouldn't tell you his social security
No,
number?
he didn't want to tell me his social.
Okay. And so what happened after that when he took the tablet?
He took the tablet, then I took it back from him.
You took it back from him?
Yes, and he gave me the number then.
He did give you the number? Okay.
After, yes.
All right. And when you put the number in, did you get a report about his credit status?
Yes, so his credit wasn't good.
Okay. And what did that mean in terms of the phone?
That he had to put down a deposit for the phone.
Okay. Do you remember how much it was?
It was like $400 and something.
Okay. I think your statement says $548. Is that refresh your memory?
Yes.
Okay. So he needed to come up with $548 like cash up front to get the phone?
Yes.
Okay. Did you tell him that?
Yes.
Okay. And how did you respond to that?
I guess he didn't have the money. He didn't say anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what happened after that?
So I told him that he could get a prepaid phone, and he was telling me that if I think he don't have any money, he just told me that if I think he don't have any money.
If you thought he did not have any money?
Yes.
Okay.
If he.
All right. And did he say anything else about that?
No.
Okay. And so at some point, did he actually leave the AT&T store?
Yes.
All right. And did he come back into the store after a period of time? All right. And when he came back into the store, what part of the store were you in?
In the back.
In the back. Okay. Can you describe that for the jury?
It was like an L.
Okay.
And I was in the back of the L.
Okay.
Yes.
And so the front door.
It was the front and then the back.
All right. And what kind of furniture is in the back of that L store?
The back is a table with chairs.
Okay. And who was back there?
My manager, Alex.
And were you back there?
Yes.
Okay. And were other employees of the store sort of around there?
Yes.
Okay. And so did the fellow with the pink pants, did he come to that back L part of the store? What happened there?
So he was telling me that what happened to his phone, and I didn't even know he had a phone. So I told them, what are you talking about? And he told me, you messed up my phone. So my coworker told me that he had a knife on the side of his pocket, and that's...
Okay.
Can you repeat the question again? I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. You're doing great. So at some point, your coworker told you he had a knife?
Yes.
Okay. And did you yourself see the knife?
Yes, I saw it.
Okay. And can you describe to the jury where the knife came from and how?
He had it in his pocket.
Just stand up and show how to do it.
He had it. He was like standing right next to me, and he had it right here.
Okay, and it was pointed downward like you just had it?
Yes.
For the floor? Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Please take it. You see it again. And how long did he keep the knife out of his pocket?
It was like a minute.
Okay. And so what happened after that?
So after that, I left the scene.
Okay, where'd you go?
To the back of the store, to the the other.
Like
to
an office area?
Yeah.
All right. And who remained to talk to the man with the
Alex.
Alex did, okay. And so he comes back in the store, he's making a complaint about his phone. You said he had nothing to do with the phone. Then he pulls his knife out, pointing it down at the floor. Yes. Then you leave.
Yes.
Okay. Did you see the man again?
No.
Okay. What's the next? Did you emerge from that office area at some point?
Yeah, so I came outside when he left the store.
You came out when he left the store?
When he left, yes.
Okay. And what did you see then?
I saw when the police went to the station, to the gas station.
Okay.
Yes.
And did you see how he left the store? What means of transportation?
He left in a white car.
Okay. All right.
I saw the white car, but I didn't see him leave. I saw him outside when they were following him in the cop car and the police car.
So when you left the office area,
Yes.
came into the main floor of the store, what did you see then about this fellow you're talking about?
When I left the office, I saw the police following him to the gas station.
Okay. So he's in a white car, police car behind him, and they're heading toward the gas station.
Yes.
On the corner of Main Avenue and like that Gristmill Road?
Yes.
Okay, good. So have you previously looked at a video of some footage of the store and both the main store and that L area you talked about?
Yes.
Okay. 6, right? Yes. Let's see, exhibit 6, please. So, Mr. Padilla, we're going to show you what marked at Exhibit 6 earlier. And I want you to look at this and see if you recognize what's in there.
Okay.
Your Honor, there's no objection to the admission of this exhibit. So
I think it's a full exhibit.
Okay, yes, it is. Right. Thank you.
Already.
Okay, stop right there, please. So is that the main
entrance?
Entrance, okay. And is that the gentleman there on the right with the, so it looks like a blue coat and pink pants?
Yes.
Okay, please play it. And excuse me, one second. 4:27:01, that's the time of day?
Yes.
This happened around 4:30 in the afternoon?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
This is a good witness.
See him walking in front of the store?
Yes.
Stop it up, please. So where is the man heading now? He's entered the store, and which direction he's heading in there?
To the back of the store.
And you're back there with your manager?
Yes.
Okay, please play it.
Guys, we might be able to get some of the videos of their scenes, like the police chase, body camera, stuff like that. If we do we'll be able to show those to you.
So is this person an employee of the store? The gentleman, like right here?
Yes.
Okay. And you seem somewhat alarmed, do you agree?
Yes.
Did that happen probably pretty much right after the knife was seen?
Yes.
Okay, please play it. And that woman there, like to the left of the table, was she also a worker at the store?
Yes.
Okay, what's her name?
Jamie.
Jamie. Is Jamie the person that alerted you that the gentleman was holding a knife?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know what they're doing there on their phones?
They calling the police.
Gentleman on the left part of the picture, is that Alex, the manager?
Yes.
Stop that for a moment, Attorney Slit. So the street that runs in front of the AT&T store, what's the name of that street?
Main Street.
Okay. And the Shell gas station, as we're looking at it, would it be to the left or the right?
To the left.
So where to the left?
To the left.
So, like on the top, off the top of the picture?
Yes.
Okay. Please play it. Thank you. Did you see this interchange between Alex and the gentleman with the pink pants? Did you see any of that?
No.
Okay. Is that you just coming in from the left part of the picture there?
Yes.
In the back, behind Jamie?
Yes.
Okay. There you go. Okay, so can we go to the next video? So when you were there, you said you saw a white car going toward the gas station and a police car following it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Stop right there for a second, please. Okay, so this is this L area you were talking about, correct?
Yes.
Is that you in the bottom of the picture at the table there?
Yes.
Okay, and this is the gentleman approaching you, correct?
Yes.
Okay, just play it. And is this where he's telling you that he messed up his phone?
Yes.
Okay, I don't know. Just stop for a second, please? So from this angle, you can't see a knife. At what point did you see that? Actually, see the knife?
It was
earlier.
Yes, earlier.
Okay. Let's go back from the beginning. Maybe you tell us where you. Tell me at what point you saw that.
When I moved from the chair.
Okay. He's complaining about messing up his phone.
Yes.
At this point.
It was right there.
Right there. Okay. All right. And that lady's backing up. Your coworker's backing up.
Yes.
At that point? Okay. Okay, and after he drove away in that white car, you got no further involvement in this case, correct?
No.
Okay, no further questions.
Cross-examination?
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon.
I'm going to focus on
So, Ms.
the
Padilla, we
victim's
just
behavior.
watched 2 videos, and you had pointed out originally there was Alex, the manager, and Jamie. I noticed a couple other people in the store. Were they employees or customers?
There was one customer and one other employee.
All right. Now, in that second video that we just observed, Jamie, after the knife came out, Jamie seemed to head towards the front of the store, and then there was a gentleman who seemed to be in front of a table. Was that another employee?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know his name?
Vinny.
Okay. So during this whole event, you had four employees. So you had Alex, you had you had Jamie, you had Vinny.
And we had another one.
Okay, so 5 employees were in the store. And I thought I saw at least one customer.
One customer.
Who was in the front near the window.
Yes.
Okay. Now, you certainly jumped pretty high, or you moved away, and you would appear to have jumped when the knife came out. Is that a fair way to put it?
Yes.
What did the knife look like?
It was a long kitchen knife.
Okay. And you say it was in his right hand, in his pocket?
Yes.
And he pulled it out of the pocket?
He pulled it out.
Now, we saw it on the video, but what is your recollection of the jacket that he was wearing?
He had a big coat.
Okay, like puffy coat?
Puffy,
Because this was in January, correct? So it was cold.
It was cold.
And so he was wearing a big puffy winter jacket.
Yes.
And that knife was in the front right pocket of the winter jacket.
Yes.
Okay. You were scared.
Yes.
In fact, I dare to say very scared that a knife was just pulled out, correct? Had that ever happened to you before?
No.
One of the more scary experiences of your life?
Yes.
Now, Jamie seemed to head the other way too.
Yes.
I know after this incident had occurred, you were interviewed by the Norwalk Police Department, correct? And you gave a statement.
Yes.
I just want to ask you a couple questions about that statement because obviously you were one of the people, the closest to the gentleman in the pink pants. You said earlier today that when he came in, your initial impression of him was that he was acting mentally disturbed?
Yes.
And that he was acting strange?
Yes.
Now, what was his tone like? Was he calm? Was he loud? Was he yelling? What was he doing?
He was, it was changing. So he was loud, then he was like speaking low, then he was friendly. It was changing.
So he was all over
the place, yes.
And I believe you said that at one point, when you were asked questions about entering his social security number, he actually grabbed the tablet out of your hands.
Yes.
And you took it back.
I took it back, yes.
I assume that's store policy. You
yes.
do it. Okay. And he was aggressive in that regard to snatch that out of your hands.
Yes.
All right. Now, he came in and out of the store a few times. I think he left twice, and so he was in the store 3 times in total. At some point in time, would it appear as though he was sort of talking to himself?
Yes.
Talking about things like money and...
Yes.
All right. The second, or the first video we saw, when he came in, it seemed like he was coming in pretty hot, pretty aggressive.
Yes.
And is that, was that a concern to you too, that he re-entered the store acting very aggressive?
I was confused.
Okay.
I didn't even know what was going on.
This is the guy that had moments ago knife out.
Yes.
So you were worried?
Oh, no, I didn't see him when he came back in.
Okay. All right.
I saw him. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
I didn't see him the 3rd time that he came in.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Now, what we saw in the video is that after he left the last time, was that Alex, your boss, locked the door?
Yes.
Everyone in the store was looking outside because they were observing where this guy was next going.
Yes.
Correct? Now, did you see him get into that white car?
I saw him leave.
Okay.
In the white car.
The 2 prior times he had walked out, did you see him approach that same white car, or you didn't pay attention?
I didn't pay attention.
Okay. The second video we saw was an interaction that appeared to be between him and Alex. Were you there when that interaction between the man in the pink pants and Alex happened?
Yes.
Did it appear as though the man in the pink pants tried to take a phone?
Yes.
And Alex was there to take it back from him?
Yes.
And is that what happened in the video that we saw?
Yes.
And then after that interaction, that was the 3rd interaction, he then left the store never to return?
Yes.
Okay. We saw Alex on the phone, and I think Jamie was on the phone. Did you also call the police?
No.
Okay. You assumed that they were calling the police?
Yes.
In fact, you probably heard Alex calling the police.
I saw them calling the police.
Okay. All right. I have no other questions. Thank you very much.
No questions. Thank you, Ms. Padilla.
Thank you, Ms. Padilla. You're excused.
Great witness. Good job. Probably your first time in court as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Lieutenant Hume, is our next witness? His call to give it 3. It's the same one we just played, right? With the other call.
This case is much more fun to watch now that I'm not counting the number of ums.
So what's the exhibit number on that? 7, okay. Somebody else in Marshall, please.
Good afternoon, sir.
I'm going to want to play the...
Excuse me, you're ready? Do you solemnly swear or solemnly sincerely swear that the evidence you shall give concerning this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or upon penalty of perjury? May you please state your first and last name for the record?
First name Bruce, last name Hume.
May you please spell out your last name for the record?
H-U-M-E.
May you please state your badge number and your business address, please?
My business address before I retired was 1 Monroe Street, South Norwalk, Connecticut, and I didn't have a badge number. My ID number was H012.
Thank you.
Welcome. Have a seat.
Retired police officer, retired detective.
Pull up to the microphone if you would, sir, so you can reach it easily.
So you are currently retired from the police department?
Yes, I am.
Okay, but prior to that, what rank did you hold in the Norwalk Police Department?
I was a lieutenant.
All right. And on directing your attention to January 15, 2020, you're on duty that evening?
Yes, I was.
All right. At the Norwalk Police Department?
Yes.
And what was your role that evening?
I was the shift commander of the 3 to 11 shift.
Okay, so all the police officers, you were their supervisor?
Yes.
Okay. At that time, did you hear a call over the radio relating to a possible carjacking and a possible police pursuit?
Yes, I did. It was the thing that caught my attention was the pursuit. Yes.
Okay. And why was that?
Because they become dangerous.
Okay, all right, high-speed pursuits generally dangerous?
Yes.
All right, and so as a supervisor, part of your job is to sort of watch over that sort of stuff?
Correct.
Okay, did you subsequently learn information about this actual theft of this car to make a determination if it was fit the definition of a carjacking versus not?
Ultimately, I made the decision that it did not fit, it didn't appear at that point to fit the definition of a carjacking, that it was most likely just a stolen car.
Okay, so we have a video of the car actually being taken.
Okay.
And I want to take a look at that screen and see what your assessment of this is. You seen this video before from the Shell station?
I saw a bit of it online just like a week ago, but I couldn't really see the car, and I saw it in the office prior.
Okay, so a white car is going to come into you there in a moment. Stop there, please. That's Daniel Green. You familiar with Mr. Green as the operator of that lift vehicle?
I was not aware of his name, but it appears to be the operator of the lift, yes.
Okay, right. Okay, please play it.
This guy's really happy to testify.
And you see the person with pink pants coming out of the rear of the vehicle?
Yes, I do.
And going into the driver's seat?
Yes.
Okay. And that's the gentleman coming up there. And then, stop it, please. It appears to be a Norwalk police officer who's approaching the vehicle, I guess trying to get the door open.
It appears to be. I mean, I can't tell who it is, but yeah.
Right. Let's just play it. And the car then, I guess, proceeds off and up Gristmill Road there. And you see, I think a Norwalk police car following it.
Oh, with its overheads,
And then I think you'll see a couple of other police cars following it. I think there's one more that comes into the picture there. Thank you. Okay, good enough. So, Lieutenant Hume, that interaction there, the fellow moving from the back seat of the vehicle to the front seat of the vehicle and driving away, how would you characterize that?
Objection, Your Honor.
Okay.
He's not qualified as an expert. I understand he's a former police officer, but he's being asked to conclude if a carjacking took place.
Or didn't take place.
Or didn't take place, as the case may be.
Right.
All right, is that the point of your question?
Yes, this is a lieutenant in the police department whose job it was to make that assessment and did make that assessment that night. And I'm looking to find if this confirms or refutes his assessment.
Allow it overruled?
What would you say to that?
Without the benefit of having seen that, I made the decision to break off the pursuit. But having seen that, I agree with my decision from 4 years ago. Okay. It did not appear to be a carjacking.
All right.
Does that sound a little better?
So when you made the decision to break off the pursuit, how did you effectuate that?
Initially, when I even heard that there was a pursuit, I had called communications on the phone and told them if it was motor vehicle only to break it off. And then I went to the communications division and we had further information, but ultimately I maintained that position that we would not pursue that car.
Okay. Did the dispatcher notify the officers who were pursuing to stop, basically?
Yes.
Okay. And how did you ensure that that was carried out?
We did a roll call on the air, so every unit that was working, you would call them and verify that they got the information or the order to break off the pursuit.
Okay. And were other police departments notified of this pursuit and the fact it was broken off?
The pursuit went out on the hotline, so communications was in charge of that. So there would be numerous other departments that heard it, including the state police. I was not operating the radio. To the best of my knowledge at that point, our communications supervisor, Tina Rawls, was on the phone with the state police. So we put it over the air, I believe, and she told them verbally over the phone. She was in phone contact with them.
Okay. And did you receive any information about how the state police were handling the situation after the pursuit was terminated?
No. I broke it off. We had broken it off, and then I went back down to my office, and that's the last I heard about it until I was notified by another lieutenant that there had been an incident in West Haven.
An officer-involved shooting?
Yes.
Okay. And when you learned there was an officer-involved shooting in West Haven, involving the same vehicle that was the subject of the Norwalk pursuit?
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yes, correct.
What did you do then?
I went back up to the communications room upstairs and called Troop G on the phone to see if I could offer any assistance or if they needed anything, and to kind of ask what happened. And then I sent the sergeant, Sergeant Bisegli, up to West Haven to see if he could offer any assistance to them.
Okay, so we're going to play that call that you made to Troop G now. It's a part of Exhibit 7. So a portion of Exhibit 7. So please listen to this, Lieutenant.
Okay.
This is a paper-based courtroom. I don't think they have any computers.
Lieutenant Hume from Norwalk. So I should talk to, as much as I can piece together here what happened with this whole thing, I should talk to somebody. I don't know if your shift commander is there or...
Yeah, so what happened was... Yeah, I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but what happened was we chased that car down to West Haven.
Yes.
And the car is not here. Yeah, so both of our sergeants that work inside are both out of the scene right now.
Well, let me tell you then what we pieced together down here, and you can repeat it if anybody wonders. So, at the AT&T store, which is on Route 7 here next to Town Fair Fire, this guy, the suspect, who is shot now, comes in and he's walking around talking crazy, brandishing a knife. He goes up to one of the girls in there and he says something about they hacked his phone or something, or they deleted his memory or whatever it is. And she says, we can't do that from here. So he's walking around ranting and with the knife. So the manager comes out of the back and tells him, you gotta leave. So he leaves. And apparently then calls a lift, which I guess comes relatively quickly. He gets into the back of the lift. And the guy drives down to, I'm thinking it's the Shell station on Broad Street in Norwalk, with the suspect in the back seat all the while hitting the driver in the back of the head. So the guy pulls into the gas station and says, that's it, get out. I've got a gun. This is the lift driver. I've got a gun. Get out of the cab. So the guy gets out of the cab, and as they're standing there, the guy jumps in, or the lift. Yep. The suspect jumps into it and drives away in it. Okay. So that's what we have here. And when we kind of got most of this together, it's looking like the sergeant on the scene said it is not a carjacking. So that's when we broke it off and let everybody know the latest we have is not a carjacking. Okay. And then the last week, somebody up here talked to one of you guys. You weren't pursuing anymore. You're monitoring on the camera to the exit 34.
Yeah. So this actually spoke back and said that it was being considered a carjacking at the moment.
Yeah, it was back and forth. The last thing we said was not. Frankly, was it or wasn't it? It's a big mess. Did he say the Uber driver? We have the Lyft driver. Did he brandish the knife and push him in? Well, then technically it's carjacking. Yeah. But the last I had from the sergeant on the scene was not. He just jumped in the car and drove it away. Okay. So what happened to the scene? So they stopped him, obviously, and he came and done like or something?
Yeah, I don't think he stopped. They got off of 43 in West Haven. If you're familiar with 43 in West Haven, it's a very steep ramp. Yeah, so he took the left to go underneath the highway. And I don't know if he lost it or struck something coming off the ramp, but that's when we lost communication with the troopers for a few minutes, and then they came over and there were shots fired. So.
Okay. I have a sergeant going up there from here now, and then we are out here at the scene. So let me give, whoever needs it, let me give you my phone number. Sure. It's 203.
867-5309. 867-5309.
So do you remember that phone call?
Yes, I do.
So about in the middle of that phone call, the Troop G dispatcher says, somebody from Norwalk called Troop G after you had terminated the pursuit and said it was being investigated as a carjacking. Were you aware of that?
I had no knowledge of that, no. Okay. Until you actually told me in the office.
Okay. But you heard that on the phone call?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And so from your perspective, there was this incident at the AT&T store. It goes down to the Shell station. You saw the video of what happened in the Shell station. The officers, Norwalk officers agreed it wasn't a carjacking and stopped the pursuit. But then somehow this information gets relayed to Troop G incorrectly. Fair to say?
Apparently, I'm guessing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. And then what further involvement did you have in this case, sir?
And that was it, pretty much. I had guys go back to the AT&T store. There had been an incident earlier at LA Fitness. We had somebody head up there. It was just kind of pulling it all together, what had happened.
Right. Okay.
Which is hard to do when it's happening.
Sure. But I guess, were you aware of the fact that the officer-involved shooting resulted in a death? Were you aware of that?
At that point, I don't think so.
Okay, just a shooting had happened at exit 43.
Right.
All right, great. No further questions. Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
This guy's adamant that they're like, it wasn't the carjacking. He was beating the guy. He had a knife. He stole his car, but it wasn't a carjacking.
My name is Frank Ricky. We've never met before.
No.
I represent Trooper North. So, timing is a funny thing, isn't it? In this particular case, we have a fluid series of events, correct?
Correct.
And my best estimate, and I'm going to ask you to comment on this, is that there were almost like competing messages being sent to the troopers, to Troop G. Is that fair to say?
That may be. It's actually hard for me to say because I wasn't communicating with them until after it occurred.
Fair enough. In fact, I think
I was getting all kinds of information though. So
right.
Yeah.
And we just heard your communication, which, if my notes are correct, was around 5:20 p.m.
Yeah.
But whatever the time was, that's the extent of your communication. Now, you called off the pursuit in Norwalk, correct? And this is primarily, and correct me if I'm wrong, primarily based upon the fact that it was, at that time, a stolen car without any violence alleged, correct?
That's what it appeared to be at that point, yes.
And I'm sure other factors that worked into that was the traffic conditions. This was rush hour. Wednesday afternoon, 4:30. So traffic conditions, the speed of the suspect vehicle, and those types of things, correct?
Correct.
Now, approximately 10 or so minutes after, were you aware that approximately 10 or so minutes after you called off your pursuit, Troop G is sending out a bulletin saying that this was a carjacking, the suspect had a knife?
No, I was not aware of that.
Okay. Just give me 1 second. With the assistance of Attorney Slitt, I'm going to ask you to listen to two very brief recordings that represent two calls that dispatch sent out around 4:50 p.m.
Okay.
And ask you, after you hear these two recordings, to I'll ask you some questions based on those.
So he didn't have all the info. Roll tape.
Please.
I'm not hearing anything.
The vehicle, let them know.
Please switch forward to Special Events.
Okay, Dispatch Van Team, I get a call from Norwalk.
Yes.
Just the officer that's on the highway or near the vehicle, let them know there are officers telling us to consider it a felony stop. They're considered a carjacking now.
All right, hold on a second.
Sure.
Okay, we'll pass it on to the troopers. Virginia 1422 decline. Just took a call from Milwaukee PD. The officers that are investigating are stating that this is now a carjacking incident. Proceed caution. The individual did have a knife. Approaching 26, send over.
Having now heard those two recordings, can you agree that communications went over the radio that on two different occasions a report of carjacking, suspect has a knife, was sent out?
Yes.
And these communications were 10 minutes or so after you terminated the pursuit in Norwalk. Were you aware of that?
No, I wasn't.
Now, the recording that we first heard of you communicating with Troop G was at about 5:20 p.m. 30 minutes after those two recordings were put out over the radio. Were you aware of that 30-minute time differential?
No, I was not. I didn't know those were put out after I broke the pursuit off.
And were you aware that the incident that brings us here took place between the 4:50 p.m. call alleging a carjacking and the 5:20 p.m. call stating this is not a carjacking?
No, I was not aware of that. I don't know the time frame.
So I guess the question is, how was it, withdrawn? We can agree that the 4:50 p.m. communications that we just heard were communications that were not authorized by you, correct?
Correct.
But someone authorized them because they went out over the radio, correct?
Correct. And Tina, who was speaking there, was the communications supervisor. So that would be her.
And as we know, all the communications that are going out over the radio, there are troopers and police officers all relying upon the accuracy of that information, correct?
Correct.
At the conclusion of your statement, and when I say statement, the relatively 3-minute length conversation that you had with Troop G, there was a dialogue with you and Troop G, and I think you said words to the effect of, you know, is this a carjacking? Is this not a carjacking? Yeah, I don't know. It went back and forth.
Correct. It did go back and forth.
Now, can we agree that at least over the radio, it didn't, over the communications that we just heard, it didn't go back and forth. It was, you terminated the pursuit, 11 minutes later, carjacking with a knife.
Sure. I terminated the pursuit, went back down to my office, which isn't in communications, and then apparently, I mean, I don't know the time frame, but that information was put out, and I don't know why.
The rules regarding pursuits, generally, I know there's a lot of them, but one of them is, and correct me if I'm wrong, that pursuits are not authorized if you're pursuing a stolen car. Or to say it differently, pursuits are not authorized if there's no threat of violence. Am I oversimplifying it?
The threat of violence, an ongoing dangerous situation. Pursuits of stolen cars, I believe, are illegal now. I used to break them off anyway, even before they were illegal, because it's a property crime.
And was that the status of the law in 2020, January?
I believe that was before it became illegal to chase stolen cars.
Okay. Now, notwithstanding that, there was a pursuit by Norwalk from Main Avenue or thereabouts onto Route 7, onto I-95, correct?
I'm not sure how far it went or where he was when it got broken up, but that was the way it went, yes.
Okay. And pursuits are authorized if there's reasonable suspicion that violence just happened, is happening, or is about to happen.
Correct.
Okay. And using that
status of the law, that's what you use to base your breaking the pursuit off in Norwalk.
Excuse me. Basically, there was also talk of a gun, but the gun apparently was the driver's gun, and that was pretty much what we thought at that point.
Right.
Right.
But you also had a suspect in a stolen car.
Right.
Driving over the speed limit on Route 7, busy road, during rush hour, Wednesday afternoon. That's dangerous too, correct?
Sure.
Moderate traffic, and did you consider the welfare of all of the motorists that may have, God forbid, come into contact with him during the pursuit?
At the point I broke it off?
Before you broke it off, and let me ask you, and I hope I didn't confuse you, in considering whether to break it off, do you consider the public that's at risk where you have a stolen car in a heavily populated area driving fast during rush hour? I mean,
sure.
Are those considerations too?
No, that's why. That's one of the things you consider: the time of day, the traffic, rush hour, and the danger that it presents to people who are just driving their cars, who are not involved.
But considering that, there was a decision by Norwalk to break it off regardless. Because you broke it off at 4:39.
Sure, I broke it off, but I did not have information that it was definitely, there had been force used or a weapon displayed. It had been displayed earlier, but I didn't, you know, when I got up to communications, it seemed everything was, everyone was talking about the gun, which ended up being the driver's gun. So taking everything into consideration, I thought we're putting more people at risk by chasing this guy. The hope is that maybe he'll just stop or get off and go away, and that'll be the end of it, and we can investigate it, which is always preferable to a pursuit.
This is, I think, a perfect example of a police officer having to make split-second decisions based upon the information you have at the time, correct?
Oh, it absolutely is. And everybody yelling and screaming over the radio at the same time.
Sure. So it doesn't help when you're in a high-tension situation and there's lots of noise and lots of chaos around you.
Oh, no.
To have to make decisions based upon all that chaos.
No.
Correct?
Correct.
It's difficult.
It is very difficult.
All right. Thank you very much, sir.
Thanks.
You didn't make a decision to shoot your gun that day, did you?
Objection.
Well, he's talking about high-risk, split-second decisions.
Yeah, I'll
distinguish it from
I'll
what...
sustain the objection.
Okay, thank you. No further questions.
That'll be stricken, please. I think we're all set. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Thank you.
He knew that objection was going to be called, so he talked really fast to get it in, so they could ring the bell.
Thank you.
When we're ready to get demonetized, there is a video of this traffic stop and the shooting involved.
That's what I'm concerned. Good question.
So I apologize to the court, Your Honor. We have no further evidence to offer today. We're prepared to resume the trial tomorrow at 10 o'clock.
Okay, so
perfectly fine.
I thought so. As I had mentioned, usually we'll work until 4:30 or so. I told you this morning it would probably be more like 4 o'clock today. Sometimes these things happen. It's early in the trial, and we have time to make it up. So I'm going to excuse you for today. As I said before, and you'll get tired of hearing this, but it's very important. I really want you to don't make up your mind based on the evidence that you've heard so far. And don't even form opinions on the evidence that you've heard so far. There's going to be quite a bit more. You're not to discuss any of this with anyone, including your fellow jurors, under any circumstances. Do not seek out any information about the case, any of the characters involved. Do not visit the site or anything like that, and do not respond to inquiries from people who you believe to be from the media. And we'll see you tomorrow at about 9. All right? All right, thank you. So you're excused for the day. You'll collect the books. Or you can leave them on the chairs and the marshals will pick them up. Is that okay?
Yeah, leave them on their chairs.
Yeah, just leave them and then, no, all right, then take them with you. But leave them someplace so we can get them back, okay? Don't take them home.
Queso for lunch. Queso, that's what I'm saying. The short and the skinny on this case, if we just turn this down just
So, Mr. Devlin, what does it look like for tomorrow?
Well, we have, I think, hopefully a full day of evidence between the Lyft driver and officers from the crime squad task force, as well as inspect. I think we have a full day of evidence tomorrow. Okay. Or almost a full day of evidence.
Well, okay, maybe a little more full, because will we have the witness you were going to call now tomorrow?
We have the witness
you were going to call.
He's not
your
here
next
yet.
witness. Oh, is this the Carolina?
No, we've actually skipped over him. It's the gentleman that drove the Lyft car. He was scheduled to come tomorrow morning anyway.
Okay, all right. Do we have anything that we need to discuss?
Attorney Riccio and I are going to go over the exhibit list to see if we can reach further agreements, but nothing involving the court.
Yeah, I will compliment you guys on doing that, because it really obviously does streamline things quite a bit. Can I just have you two up here for a second? And this would be when you would.
Okay, so as they go up there, we're going to be done with court for the day. Actually, we're not done for the day. We're going to pick up tomorrow. Okay, so just a little reminder. Hang on one second. If you're trying to fill us in with information about the court that has not come out in evidence in trial, we're going to consider that a spoiler, and it might put you on the sidelines for a day. We're strict about that. We're not going to allow spoilers. So if you think you've got information, you're just answering people's questions, you might find yourself not answering any questions for a day because of that.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Okay, so as they go on break for that, we're going to get ready. We're going to take a lunch break, and we're going to come back with the rest of it. First, before we go on break, though, we are going to take a quick peek at, wow, that's a big G. Quick peek at the thumbnail to see how that's coming along, and it looks great. It looks really good. We're not going to share the link to the thumbnail anymore because we have problems. Let's see, objection counter off. It's looking really good. It really is. Let's see, we've got the little signatures of people who have the main contributors are down there. Oh, we've got, I'm not sure, it's a sleepy juror. Microphone at the juror's box. Good stuff. They're passing around the knife. I see the son's asleep. We've got a puffer coat, pink pants, telephone, things on the clothesline up down the road. We've got the store, cell phone store, barber shop, just everything. We've got lots of stuff here. So this is good. This is a good start. I'm going to go ahead and download this one, and we will use this. Hopefully this doesn't get destroyed throughout the trial, but, well, I'm downloading it with a white car. There we go, because that's what we have now. So screenshot as it is. That's going to be our opening for the next one. No flag. Not everything that comes out in court is going to be on the thumbnail. I think I like this style, what we're going with right now. So let's go for that. All right. Wish we could see. Can you not see? Crunchy Frog. Can you not see what's up on the screen? I mean, I literally, this is the program out. Okay, I'm going to send you a link, actually. Here's the assignment. We're going to go on break, and maybe, if I can do this properly, I'm going to link. Oh, I can't because it's not live. Let me see. I thought I could link to a video that's going to be the body camera footage. Let me see if I can send you all there. I don't know if I can. Specific video. Videos from other channels. Hang on. Let's see if I can do this. Okay. Share, copy link. Let's see if I can paste it here. Nope, that doesn't work. Give me a second. We'll see if we can pull this off. It's not liking it like that. Okay, so we'll do it the other way. All right. When we go to break, I'm gonna post a little comment here.
When are we gonna break?
Wait, guys, just be patient. Be patient. Here we go. All right, so we're going to post a link here right at the end of that. It'll be in chat on one of the last chats on the live stream that will send you to the update. When we come back, we're going to start with day 2. We are playing catch up on this trial. It is still ongoing. Anyone who tries to spoil this, you're going to find your privileges are severely curtailed. If you're worried about seeing spoilers, you might want to, not watch the latest and greatest chat. Give the mods a chance to delete things if something does make it through. But here we go. Let's see that this is also a way to do it. All right, let's play the music and we could go to lunch because I'm starving. I have to run to the post office as well today. So let's do that. Boom. There we go. What time East Coast will be back? It is one. Let's come back in an hour at 1:15. Is that all right? 1 hour. That works. It's 12:15 right now. We'll be back at 1:15. All right. Thank you. This morning's been a lot of fun. Great work on the thumbnail. We'll have this. The current status is what it's going to be basically, or very similar to this for the restart for later this afternoon. Remember, first person in chat wins the internet. Adam, no, you didn't win this morning. It was somebody else. Sorry about that. But we are going to give you right now in chat the link to go to watch the footage of the body cam. Remember, tonight when you go home, please hug the people you love. Smile at someone to make their day just a little bit better. And please stay safe till we go live again in about an hour. About 1 hour. Enjoy your lunch. We'll see you guys after. Links posted in chat right now. There it is. There's the body cam link. Enjoy it. Watch it. That'll tell you what happened. It's rough. It's rough. I'm telling you, they don't edit. But you make the call. All right. We'll see you guys after lunch. Have a good one. Bye.
Because he's the guy. When are we going to break for lunch, Judge?